wide hips, heavy like the sea. They call me bitter, but they don't know my fight. Born in shadows, never bathed in light. They call them exotic clothes, oh, golden skin like honey, live in my dream. But I'm a midnight confession, a voice in the dark, a heart with no compass, no spark to start. I blame the world, but I know it's me, a prisoner of envy with no peace. They walk on air, they don't touch the ground, Men orbit them like planets spinning round. I wear my anger like a second skin, but it don't change the cage I'm in. I'm in the dark, honey, die, 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 yeah. Skin I wear, would I still envy the one so rare? Pencils in the back, the ones whose DMs stay color struck black. See, I'm the leader of a special crew, the dark-skinned belugas, proud and true. We preach level up and know your worth, or scrolling through pictures of men here on earth who only want life, who only want mix, leaving us belugas feeling sorely fixed. They call them exotic ghosts, put them on a throne, while a queen like me sits home alone. It ain't my personality, it can't be that. It's cause I'm built like a welcome mat. My game is flawless, my strategy's A1. But these high value men, they all start to run. Cause I'm crispy, the catfish with pencil blues. Jealous of light-skinned girls in my rear view. I'm a dark-skinned beluga, a leader so grand, but can't get a king to just hold my hand. I'm preaching hypergamy, yelling, get yours. But the men I want are slamming their doors. They want exotic goals, not a big bad car. So I'm here on the net, just taking a loss. I talk a big game about luxury life, about being a chosen high value wife. But the truth in the DMs is bitter and cold. The men that I target are already sold on a face that looks like a new mix, a body that doesn't come in double XL kids. They don't see the guru, the mind so keen. They just see a beluga, dark and unseen. So I call it colorism, I scream and I shout, but the real tea is I'm just left out. It's not that I'm dark, it's that I'm dark and wide, with nowhere for a high value man to hide. I'm a fencer with a platform, a bitter fat sage, trapped in the darkness of my own rage. Yeah, I'm crispy, the catfish with pencil blues. Jealous of light-skinned girls in my rear view. I'm a dark-skinned beluga, a leader so grand, but can't get a king to just hold my hand. I'm preaching hypergamy, yelling, get yours. But the men I want are slamming their doors. They want exotic goals, not a big bad boss. So I'm here on the net, just taking a loss. They say it's the light skin, the loose curls, the Euro features. But let's be real, it's the aesthetics a man can admire a beautiful dark-skinned queen. If she's built like a queen, Not like the royal barge, I don't qualify for the men I want. So I become the leader of the women they don't want. It's a sisterhood of spite. I'm crazy, catfish with them so blue. Jealous of light-skinned girls, I can't be. Yeah, I'm a dark-skinned beluga, a leader so grand. Can't get a king to just do that. I'm preaching hypergamy, yelling get yours. But the men I want are slamming their doors. They want exotic goals, not a busted boss. So I'm here on the net, just taking a loss. The leader of the left out, the general of the lonely, the prophet of the passed over, Crispy the catfish. Signing off. Stay bitter. Birds. Stay bitter.
It's really hard not to feel like a failure in life when you haven't completed anything. And the things that you have done, you have nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know that it's not impossible to start your life over, but I'm having the hardest time. I'm having the hardest time. I don't have any high income paying skills, so I don't even know how I'm supposed to get a job. When I did work, I worked as a chef and a pharmacy tech. Both things you need certification for. I do not have certification for either one. I'm genuinely like, and then it's like, if you want just a low stress job, they don't even pay enough for you to have housing. So I'm still going to be in the same situation. I'm so tired of being homeless, unemployed, and having to ask people to help me all the time.
Why is she on TikTok telling people all this stuff? Because I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of this same cycle happening year after year after year after year, generation after generation after generation. I am tired. And it's like nobody wants to tell us. They don't warn us. They don't tell us. They want us to figure it out on our own. I'm tired. I'm tired of doing it on my own. I'm tired of having to figure it out on my own. I'm tired of having to wake up every day, feed the kids, clothe the kids. I'm exhausted. I can't even get my mental self together because I have to focus on my kids first. And it's only me. I can't call their dad and ask him, hey, you think you can buy them a pair of shoes because school's going to be starting? I don't have that. And it's overwhelming that when I do ask for help, I don't get the help. I get, well, I did it, so you should do it. I did it, so you should do it. So you are still mentally unhealed at 60 plus years old. You want me to go through that same thing because you did it? Yeah. I'm literally just trying not to break. So I came on TikTok because I'm like, hey, I don't know anybody on here. Maybe I can find other women that can relate to me. And it's a whole fucking spew of us on here going through the same fucking shit. I'm fucking tired. Why is it always gotta be us? Why? This shit, I'm tired and I'm getting off here before I start crying.
Like, yo, we so seriously need to bring back community. Like, on a real level, on a genuine level. Like, and it's not just about money for real. It's just about, like, having people around you to get through life. Like, genuine people who just meet you well. There's nothing ulterior. Just genuine energy, bro. That shit is so uncommon, and that shit is part of why we're, like, fucking falling apart individually. Like, as much as I can't take care of myself, it still sucks doing it by myself. Like, I just busted a flat tire on 59, so I got off the highway And like, I'm sitting here, like, I have roadside assistance on my insurance, so like I'm waiting on it, and it's not even, it's not even about, the inconvenience of it. It's not about, the money or anything. It's like a big part of it is like being alone in it. Like, I can't call anybody, and like someone's gonna come and like be there with me, and support me. And this is kind of like with everything. And I think this is why you have a lot of people who, like, it's like, no matter how successful you are, if you don't have genuine people around you who mean you well, bro, it doesn't mean anything. Like, this is why we out here fucking unhappy, because people don't genuinely like care for each other and look out for each other. It's all like, look out for yourself and every man for himself. And that sounds like a you problem. And meanwhile, everybody's kind of like crumbling for real, doing it on their own. And then it's like fucking reactive abuse to tell people, like, I suffer so bad. I suffer all the fucking time, so you should too.
This is the real me, and
this is an AI replacement. The background is real.
The AI character is not.
And I don't like that shit, yo.
I just want to be somebody girlfriend, somebody wife, somebody son.
This is one of the realest videos I have seen in a long time. And I am so grateful that she was able to be that transparent, because I literally just posted something like this last week where we are hiding our vulnerability behind our strength, behind this fake positivity, when in actuality, a lot of us are tired. We're tired of being alone. We're tired of being single. We're tired of disappointments after trying to date somebody, going in with good intentions, them not going in with good intentions because everybody got their dang on guard up. Everyone's looking out for themselves. Nobody wants to make the first move. Nobody wants to look stupid. So we all just end up alone. I am so tired of this war between men and women, especially Black men and women, when we all just want the same thing. We all just want love. I get it. I totally get it. I have nights where I cry because I'm like, yo, I know I'm not doing nothing wrong. I know I'm a great catch, but why is it so difficult?
I think there are people in this life who are genuinely happy being single, and I think that's great. But it sucks when you're not one of them, when you're a hopeless romantic, such as myself, and it just never seems to happen for you. And I don't mean that in a codependent way, because I think you would have to have a dependent to be co-on. Or you would have to have a co to be dependent on. And I'm chronically single all the time. So this isn't coming from I'm not like a serial dater that's like, no, this is coming from someone who's very consistently single, very, very consistently single. And I mean years and years and years. And I don't love it. And I think it's great that people love it, and I'm sure in some weird way this will be tied to like my self-worth or like probably some stupid fucking childhood trauma. I don't know. I'm going to talk to my therapist about it today, but I want to fall in love. I really do.
As a woman, I am tired of hustling. I can't explain how the last 5 years of my life has literally drained me. The 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 years of my life has just drained me because I've been working super hard. I'm now going into my 30s, and yes, I do feel like a man should be able to provide the security it is that I need, because I've been figuring it out myself and holding it all up on myself for a very, very long time. And it just becomes a time in your life where you want to rest in your femininity and you just want to know that things are handled. Yes, I do feel like a woman should have things of her own, but I also just feel like when you're dealing with a man, we're craving for security at a certain age. We want to know that things are okay. We want to know that, damn, if I can't figure this out right now, he maybe can take over. He maybe can take the lead and figure it out for me. But it's just, I no longer want to be the woman, the Miss Independent, the Miss Big Money, the Miss the one with all the drive, the one with all the ambition, the one with all the plans, the one that's gonna just lead every single thing, because it makes me stressed out. Like, it makes me feel like I'm continuously in survival mode because I'm trying to figure out things and there's no, it's just very, very stressful. I do desire as a woman a marriage where things are taken care of. Now, I'm always going to have my goals. I just want the things that I want to do with my life to be like my passion projects. Like, yes, I'm still going to work on the business that I'm working on. Yes, I'm still going to be working on my career, but I don't want to be working on what I'm working on out of survival mode because I'm trying to hold everything over the top of my head.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but I just moved out of my 5-bedroom house. Okay? And I have been crying for days because I was so disappointed in myself. I felt like a complete failure as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister, because I got this house for my family. It's always been my dream to get my mom a house, to get my sister a house, because my family is small. Me, my sister, my mom. It's always been my dream to be able to do this. And so even though I was just renting it, it's something about not being able to afford it that just really took the wind out of me. But then the past few days, I've been crying so much, you guys. Like, you guys just don't even know. The past few days, I had to really sit down with myself and sit down with God and really look at all the things that I've accomplished. Like, I started my cleaning business. I quit my job 5 years ago. I started a cleaning business. In my first 2 years, I made $33,000 just off of me cleaning by myself. Okay, by myself. Then I had success on TikTok. I have a community of over 140,000 friends, followers, and I was able to secure almost $146,000 just promoting products on TikTok Shop. So I had to realize that I got it in me. One thing I could do is make some money. One thing I could do is make some money. But I was having a huge pity party because I've just felt like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that I'm in this space in my life. Like, I feel like I'm going backwards. But let me tell you, what is having a luxury item, like a house, a car, all these clothes, designer things, when you can't even afford it?
I feel so stagnant in my life right now. Like, I feel like I'm so far behind that there's no catching up. And I know people will say, but you're so young still, life's not over yet, all this other stuff. And I feel like a part of me has thought my whole life that I wouldn't make it this far for whatever reason. Like, I had dreams, I had aspirations and stuff, but for some reason I never thought I'd get to this point in my life. I turned 37 this year. I've probably had one boyfriend my entire life. And even then, that one came later in life because I'm the product of 2 teenage drug addicted parents. Got ripped away from my mom by CPS. My dad was not involved for a while. And even then, now as a grown adult, I don't have a relationship with him at all. So it's just really weird at this junction of my life, feeling like I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know who to be. I just don't know anymore. And people will ask me, what do you want? What are you this? What are you that? And I was just like, sometimes I just want to be like, I don't want to exist. Like, I don't want to die, but I wish there was a button that was just a do-over and I could just maybe get a better life. Like, I don't know. And it's so hard to explain to people because then they get uncomfortable and then they feel weird. And then you can feel them backing off. And then they try to act like, oh, no, I don't. And it's like, you are, though, because you're uncomfortable, because now you feel weird and now you're looking at me weird. And now I'm not going to be honest with you anymore because you're looking at me weird. So I don't know. Life just really sucks for me right now. And I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. And I don't know how.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Like, share, subscribe on the way in. Let me know if you can hear me, how the audio is coming in. Shout out to you. Happy New Year. This is the first live I'm doing in 2026. So yeah. So thanks for joining me, you guys. Again, like, share, subscribe. So a couple of things that I want to cover off. I've actually been meaning to do this video for a while now. Holidays happened and then just, y'all know how that goes. But anyways, this whole idea of whether or not Black men have given up on Black women. And there's been a couple of things that really spurred on this topic for me, or this question. But one of them was, I had posted this video, the video I just shared with you guys. I posted this just about a month ago, and I was slightly surprised at the amount of feedback that I got in the comment section. And I saw just unanimous, I don't know if I can use the word support, but it just seemed like there was a similar theme that I was seeing from the men. And then, again, for those of you guys who have followed me, you've seen that I've posted different videos of Black women sending affirmations, Black women talking about why they love Black men. And I always get this very mixed and oftentimes more of an antagonistic response. And that is exactly what I wanted to talk about today, because, in 2026, there's so much going on. There is so much going on. And as we have seen, Black women have been some of the most impacted economically, really, over the last year. I posted something on the community tab a little bit yesterday for those of you guys who didn't see it. Actually, let me pull it up for you guys just real quick so you guys can be reminded. But Black women, compared to really any other demographic of women, and I just think any other demographic in general, they have experienced some of the highest rates of job loss. And this is coming at the same time. Okay, guys, bear with me one second. I'm going to try to pull this up so I can show you guys, for those of you guys who missed it. So I shared this yesterday, just as a quick recap, of what's actually been going on with Black women economically, really over the last year. And we can see that, unemployment grew about 40% for Black women, more so than really any other demographic of women, of course. And even I think arguably even some demographics of men, right? But, you compare them to white women's unemployment has remained pretty consistent. But this is happening at the same time. We're still seeing a rise in inflation, rent, food, gas, things of that nature. And this is also happening at the same time that a lot of the governmental programs and a lot of the different governmental support that women might be able to rely upon in between jobs is also being cut. So it's like more and more Black women are finding themselves between a rock and a hard place. And this is just within the last year. And mind you, it's also crazy to see these numbers happen like quickly after. Y'all remember, I think it was the beginning of last year or maybe slightly before, where, they were talking about Black men not being in college. And it's a talking point that recycles like every 4 years or so. But it's just the whole idea of like Black men are not leveling up to Black women because they're not in college and they're not getting college degrees. And, they're not choosing to level up. And so for those of you guys who have been online for quite some time, you're familiar with these talking points. You're familiar with the way that Black men have pretty much been, shamed or browbeaten for not getting college educations, not pursuing college educations, not getting higher degrees, right? So this rhetoric was going on, I think, early last year, or perhaps the end of 2024. And then fast forward, Trump gets into office, and you're having all of these white collar jobs, by the way, that are being completely, overtaken by AI. They're removing the governmental support, and that's impacting women. And it's like some of these same women who have these college degrees, who went to school, are out of luck. And meanwhile, the trades are still pretty safe with AI, right? But again, the reason I'm saying that is because the economy obviously plays a huge role in between the interactions of men and women. But what has been fascinating to me is to see Black men's response to, I think, the mass layoffs and the economic challenges that Black women have gone through. And so that's a little bit what I wanted to talk through today. And just see if we can get a sense of, okay, well, what's actually really going on. So, okay, again, for those of you guys who are joining, like, share, subscribe. Also, I want to shout out to you. I think it's Joey Dowdy for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate you so much. For those of you guys who have not, you can be sure to join my channel membership. You get access to exclusive content there, and we do other fun stuff there. So join the channel. Remember, you can also join me on Patreon as well. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go and look back in the comment section, because that's really what was honestly shocking to me. So I'm going to start by reviewing the video that I just played for y'all. Let me see. Let me bring it up for you guys. And we're just going to go literally right into the comment section. That's what we're going to do. And I want to unpack a little bit of what is actually going on. Like, what is this? What are these reactions that men are having coming from? Okay, so y'all bear with me. I'm going to pull this up. Okay, so again, the topic of this video I'm about to show y'all, it is Black women are struggling, underpaid, and tired of feeling alone. Okay. And then, I have in the thumbnail the Keisha Crashout. This is the video that I posted about a month ago. Now, okay. So now we're going to actually go in. I'm going to go scroll the comments. Okay. These ads. Okay. Okay, so y'all, thanks for bearing with me. So this first comment that I saw right here, one of the first comments of the and I'll remind you guys of the title: Black women are struggling, underpaid, and tired of feeling alone. And this entire 13-minute video is just basically Black women going how much support they don't have, whether it be from their immediate community, their family, their mothers. They are talking about the economic challenges that they are facing and how they feel not only very alone, but they feel like they don't have any direction. So, I mean, it's an entire conglomerate of Black women who are really in dire straits. I didn't really hear any of these women with any even any motivational aspects, such as okay, I'm going through a hard time, but I believe, or I'm going through a hard time, and I'm going to turn around. Like, some of these ladies are very much like, I actually don't know what to do, and I'm going to get off this phone or off this live before I break down and cry more. So, really, 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 and having a hard time. So, okay, so let's go down to this top comment right here. Obviously, join my Patreon. Y'all can join me on Patreon there. Shameless plug. Now, this comment, it says, you are strong, you are independent, you got this. So that got 61 likes. This reply here, it says, I'm really cheering for them. They got this, as you said. This next one right here, it says, they love talking to their phones. So again, these are men responding to the cries of help, the cries of desperation, the cries of failing, of failure, of feeling like the world is crashing in on them. So here are some of the responses that I'm hearing. Again, it says, you are strong, you're independent, you got this. This next one, they love talking to their phones. This one right here, it says, there are many people online warning women at the dangers of independence and living a selfish lifestyle. They call them haters. So this is someone else who's saying, hey, we tried to warn you that this particular path that many of y'all were taking can end in a really dangerous, vulnerable way. We tried to warn y'all, we tried to tell y'all, and y'all called us haters. Right? Y'all look down on us, you call us misogynist, or you say that we hate our mom or whatever. So that's essentially what that comment is saying. Okay. Now, this one right here, winter is coming, Kevin Samuels 2021. They hated Kevin Samuels. A lot of ladies absolutely hated Kevin. They hated him. They despised his guts. And honestly, I will say real quick before I move into some of the other comments about Kevin Samuels, I think a lot of people actually misunderstood Kevin Samuels, because a lot of the major critiques that he got were actually based upon I think a false narrative. We have to remember that Kevin Samuels was talking to women who specifically wanted the top 10% of men. These women were in essence saying, 90% of the men do not qualify for me. I am better than 90% of the men. I am better. I am higher, of a higher quality, of a higher status. just overall a better person than 90% of the men. This was the starting conversation. And so people, I think a lot of times are looking at Kevin Samuels and saying, oh man, you just hate Black women and you're just saying that they can't find love after 35 or 40, whatever. And it's like, no, you have to remember he is talking to women who want a specific kind of man. He's not talking to women who just want a nice guy, a nice average guy who's in their community or lives next door or goes to the church. No, he's not talking to those women. He is talking to women who have essentially said about, 80 to 90% of the men do not qualify for me. I am better than these men. So based upon that conversation, based upon the fact that these women are putting themselves on a high horse already, they're putting themselves as like the cream of the crop. They need to be able to reach those standards. That's why I don't see what he said or even did as being controversial when you understand that context. Because this context wasn't about just getting a nice woman love on her level that can work with him. No, these were women who were convinced that they were the top 15, 20% of women. And he basically had to go through a series of questions and essentially created a criteria to be able to determine whether or not that was true or false. But I think a lot of people are just hating on him. And it's like they were hating because they were making it seem like he was just hating on average everyday women. It was like, no, these women were off the gate were hating on men on their level, many of them. And then got mad when they realized that they oftentimes were not, oftentimes the men that they wanted didn't necessarily want them back. You can't get mad at that. At that point, he's just reporting the facts. You know what I mean? But anyways, so I wanted to share that because that's a prime example. Like there was a lot of misunderstanding, misrepresentation, and gaslighting. And I can understand some women were saying, oh, it's just his tone, it's just his tone. And listen, he didn't have, I wouldn't say he had the best bedside manners. Yeah, he probably could have been a little nicer or softer if he wanted to be, but that didn't change the fact that a lot of what he said was true and could actually help some ladies if they were willing to take his advice to get the kind of lifestyle they said that they wanted. So anyways, that is my, I mentioned that because of that. Now here it says 40 years of disrespect and not one apology. So I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. This had 430 likes. He said 40 years of disrespect and not one apology. So I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. That had 430 likes, 46 replies. So let's see what some of them had to say here. It says, Black women, for years, you Black women have called Black men dusty, worthless, on the down low, broken, useless. Me. These Black women know why Black men don't care. Then some responses, yes, indeed. No lie. I see them with them more than I see men with men. And then I just see, just a lot of people in the comments who were in agreement. This one says, more like 60 years. They can kick rocks. Facts. Say what we don't care. Facts. Real talk. They are literally detached from reality. This one right here says, when I was homeless, ain't nobody was there. If I went through, y'all can too, sis. So same thing. He was like, listen, I went through what you can too. So again, these are just a few comments, but I have yet to see any comment in there of empathy, of concern, of, man, this is really sad. This is really heartbreaking. And this is exactly why I wanted to do this video, because I was like, okay, so are these comments a reflection of the kind of audience that I've cultivated online? Are these comments a reflection of just how men actually genuinely feel collectively across the board? It really caused me to raise my eyebrow, because while I was anticipating there to be, some men who were just like, I don't care, SYSBM. I was anticipating that. I don't think I was expecting there to be such a large response of men who just were showing either blatant disdain, disregard, or in some ways even cheering it on. So I thought it was really interesting. Real quick, I want to acknowledge, shout out to you also for becoming a channel member. I really appreciate you. Also, shout out to you. I see the 5 on the super chat. It says, let's go. Even though my main channel is banned on channel ban here. Oh no. Okay. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. Also here to salute Trey. What's going on, Dane? It's good to see you. Thank you guys so much. Like, share, subscribe on the way in. As y'all know, thank you again for the support. I really appreciate y'all. Okay. So that go the money. That go the money. I appreciate all y'all. So again, we're just going over some of the comments. we are going over some of the comments. So I also I saw some members come through. So here it says, more so the good Black women get their scooped up early, or the wrong guys ruin them early. Not much to pick from later on. So, okay. So I'm not sure if you're saying this in response to some of what some of the ladies were saying earlier, but let me say this about the dating market today. I think we can all agree that it's highly, 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 highly complicated. Now, I take the stance that the loudest people in the room are oftentimes the least satisfied, and the most discontent, because misery loves company. So this is partially why you do have large channels, you have large influencers of people who, of women who talk about hating men, or whether it's taking advantage of men, or they talk about all the ways in which men don't level up. There are so many, the amount of single and unmarried, like, dating relationship experts, to me, needs to be studied. Like, that's a whole other conversation for another day. But I'm like, I am so tired of seeing single and unmarried, relationship experts supposedly leading the next generation of women into the love of their life. Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. But you're making this point of, so I think, first of all, sometimes I think the loudest voices in the room are the unhappiest, because misery loves company, one. And then let's just be clear. Something that I've actually noticed about women who are genuinely happy in their life, they are married, or they are busy at home, or busy with, in their life, whether it's they have their own job and then they're managing families. Like, I've noticed that those women actually really are not online like that. I'm online because I make money off of this, and this is something I like to do for fun, right? I don't have like another job or anything like this. Like, this is what I do. But if I did, then I probably wouldn't be online like this. Like, I'd be doing something else. Like, when I was working for corporations and running social media, on my free time, I was not on social media. I was with family, I was with friends, I was doing my thing. But now that I do this for myself, I'm online talking to you guys. But when I'm not doing this, I'm with my family, I'm with my friends, I'm building relationships. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of the women, I think, a lot of the Black women who are actually content and happy in their lives, they're busy living their lives. And unless they're online as like that's something that they like to do, whether it be for work, for business, to make money or whatever, unless they're online for that, like, they're busy living their lives, so they don't have to go online and like create all these narratives about how horrible men are, because they're actually content. So I do think some of what we see going on right now, I feel like there's a bit of an imbalance, because misery loves company, and that's the largest in the room. And I oftentimes do feel like women who might have an opposite position, or who might actually just be good women, actually, like, are good women as far as like they don't hate men, and they're just like cool people. A lot of those ladies, I feel like, are actually happy living their lives, so they're not online like that. And then also too, another thing that I've noticed is that some women like don't want to be bullied. Like, that's a big thing too, is that women don't want to be bullied by other women, because there's this sister code that's gone on for a long time, to where to call out any aspect of to call out any aspect of behaviors among Black women that are detrimental or harmful is to hate them. To simply acknowledge that there are things that Black women do that can collectively harm us, that is to be considered like a hateful, mammy, pick me, male identified, whatever. Like, there's this culture where you just simply cannot call out any of the issues or challenges that Black women do. It's almost as if like we have to always assume that Black women can do no wrong. And if you dare to step outside of that code, if you dare to criticize even in the smallest way, even if you dare to offer, even if it's constructive criticism, if it's the kindest, most gentlest delivery, yet and still any ounce of criticism, you can be seen as a hateful, woman hating, internalized misogynoirist. I've learned this, just from my own experience, my own platform. So there are also women out there who are very much in the know about the different issues that have impacted the Black community collectively. They're very much in the know in the things that have caused dissension between Black men and Black women. They are very much aware of the things that need to change, and they want to change it. And they just simply don't want to be bullied. They don't want to be bullied. And so they stay quiet. And so it's like this kind of community mindset that sometimes operates against those who are wanting to create something different other than just constant failure or trauma bonding, you know? So, okay. So I wanted to acknowledge that. Yeah, you said the good ones get gaslit early on that they are oppressed by us. This one says public love for black men is suspect. Sounds like reach back. The good ones who love black men aren't on social media like that. So okay, that's another thing I have to say too. And this is going to go back now to this whole topic of whether or not black men have given up on black women. See, here's the thing. What these comments are showing me is that there are enough black men who just simply have not had positive experiences with women in their own life, enough for them to be able to look at these different examples on social media and say, oh, that's just them over there. If anything, what they're seeing on social media or what they may be seeing in the media or whatever is reinforcing the traumatizing scenarios they've already had with women. And the same thing goes for black women, right? You have black women who grow up, dad wasn't there. If he was there, he was maybe absent or he was, kind of crazy or whatever. And then she goes online and it's a misandrous culture. She sees all this toxic stuff about men. Also based upon her negative experience, and then that experience being reinforced with what she's seeing online, it leads her to the conclusion that black men are inherently this. So to a certain extent, this happens both ways. But the issue is, my thing is, if you are a black person, period, black woman or black man, and you haven't had enough positive experiences of your own gender to be able to, share for that to be able to offer enough personal proof that not all women are in that category, to me, that's just very sad and disturbing. And I can't necessarily say I have the best answer, I have the perfect answer for that, but I do think that that's disturbing and that, deserves to be, I think, teased out of it. Because listen, for me, I can say I've had very negative experiences with black men. I've had very negative experiences with black men in my life. I've also had negative experiences with black women in my life. But because I know enough lovely, amazing black men, I'm married to a black man, I'm at a church, our bishop is a black man. There's, black men in my life who have been a huge blessing to me. Just because I may have had negative experiences with black men to this day, I may run into some at the store who have funny style, energy, or whatever. I can put that in a category and be like, okay, that is that particular person right there. That is that black man right there. But I'm not saying that the entirety of black men are like that, because I've had enough positive interactions with black men in my life to not put them all in one category. You guys understand what I'm saying? But the issue is, it just seems as if some people are in a place where it's like they literally haven't had positive, encouraging, uplifting interactions with people of the opposite, of the opposite sex. And I think that weighs into what's going on. And, the reason I wanted to call that out is because the reason that these I Love You Black Men videos fall short for a lot of black men is because if these we love you black men, we appreciate you black men, we honor you black men, if that doesn't translate into real world behavior, if it doesn't translate into real world actions, then it falls flat. Right? And so some men are being like, okay, I love you black men. What does that mean when it comes to, paternity court or, child support? What does that mean when it comes to, now you're dealing with who ends up with the kids? What does that mean when it comes to how we actually interact in relationships? Like, I've heard, there are horror stories. There are just horror stories that I've heard of men being put on child support. The woman just, she doesn't even confirm. She just puts him on the birth certificate or whatever. And then now he's given a bill before he even has a chance to confirm whether or not it's his child. Like, just things like that. And like, that's a prime example of, if you actually love and respect and honor your black man and black men collectively, you're going to have those conversations. You're going to treat the father of your child, which I believe should be your husband, first of all, but that's besides the point. You're going to treat the man that you decided to create a child with a basic, decency, with a level of respect. If this I Love You Black Man video doesn't translate into not like aggressively deleting or aborting children. Now I understand now, since Roe versus Wade being kind of overthrown and that creating a little more, basically just making it less accessible for women to do it, that may slightly change some of the numbers. But for a long time, you have these women who were just throwing these babies away like it was garbage. And oftentimes outside of the desires of the men who created them. That happened. So I'm like, what's going on is these I love you Black men, we as a collective of Black women love you, if they don't translate into individual behavior and then the behavior collectively. I mentioned abortion. We mentioned child support and all the issues with respect to that, paternity fraud. We mentioned the different interpersonal relationships and interactions. We mentioned even a lot of the different media, the think pieces, the different narratives, the different shows that are celebrated, the different articles that are read and supported, the different ideas that are oftentimes proliferated. If it doesn't translate into those spaces and places, then a lot of Black men are going to look at it and be like, we actually don't believe you. This just sounds like word salad, but it's not genuine because I haven't felt it in my real life. I haven't felt it in my heart, right? And so when I look at some of these interactions, it leads me to believe, okay, so these are men who have not had enough positive experiences with Black men or Black women in their own life for whatever reason, for them to be able to say, hey, these are Black women over there, or these are those Black women over there, but this is not all Black women, right? That's just those type. Just like the way I've been able to distinguish the fact that, yes, there are crazy Black men out there, of course. There are Black men out there that have their own problems. But I can't put all Black men in that category because I've had enough positive experiences with Black men to know that there are lovely, amazing Black men. But those interpersonal interactions, those real life interactions really matter. This one right here says, Bingo, Kevin Samuels had showed the average sister believes she's too good for regular brothers. Working normal gigs, well, get back in line and chase. Right. That's what I'm saying. A lot of them misunderstood Kevin Samuels totally and completely. This one, it says, yeah, Shay, it's past dating, even family is iffy. Now, when you say family, help me understand what you're saying. Are you saying like even when you're married? Are you saying like even when you are planning like marriage? Help me understand what you mean there. But I do appreciate the super chat. So again, so the issue that I've seen, and this is from what I'm gathering, these are just some of the initial comments, and I want to show you guys a few others. The issue that I'm seeing is that they're, again, a collective of men. They have not had enough positive experiences with Black women in their own life to be able to look at some of the things that are happening online and social media and say this is wrong. On top of the fact that we have not been able to really reckon with the last, 60 years or so of feminism and what that has done with the collective of the Black community. And I think for many Black men, I think that is probably one of the biggest issues is the way in which women today are still not willing to reckon with what that has meant, what feminism meant for the Black community, the challenges that it actually produced, and the ways in which, quite frankly, feminism never really applied to a community where patriarchy was never like feminism doesn't, how do you put it? Like, if Black men are like the primary enemies of white patriarchy. So Black men have never benefited from a patriarchy that has systematically tried to like unalive them and take them out. Like there's no way. So this idea that white men and Black men have like always been in cahoots and Black men have always had the same position and power of white men and they are out here like oppressing all these, like that is just ahistorical. It's theoretical, but it's ahistorical. So like when you understand how like the feminist framework actually just doesn't really apply to the Black family, and then you look at the ways in which women were given institutional support, different programs. Dr. T. John Johnson, he breaks this down like just so plainly in his text. When you see the amount of programs that women have had access to for decades. And instead of those programs, instead of those resources coming into Black women, instead of that being something that, okay, now we pour into the Black community and now we uplift everybody, everything, including Black men, including the Black boys, including the Black family, that becomes a reason to now turn around and browbeat Black men and say, oh, you guys need to go to college too. When you're not in college, so you're dusty. Like that, I have also found has been a really big, is another reason men are just like, yeah, these I Love You Black Men videos, they're falling really short. They're falling really, 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 really short. So this one here says, the problem is too many Black men are in survival mode and love and survival mode don't mix. So, and when you say survival mode, are you talking about as far as like their ability to connect and be in relationships? Because one thing that I say that I noticed from some of these women who are saying, I'm ready for a man, I want a man. Now, there are some who are saying that they just want companionship. They have success and they want companionship. You do see that. But I'm noticing a lot of women who are saying that from a place of financial desperation. They feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They are at a point in their life where they actually don't know what to do. The jobs are not really opening up the way that they were hoping. They don't really have support from their immediate family for any reason. And they're just like, I'm tired of doing this alone. I'd like to be married. I'd like to be in a relationship. I need somebody to take care of me. So I'm seeing some women say this, not even necessarily because they really want, they may want like real love, as much as they might be willing, want to work with a man that can get them out of survival mode. That's what I'm starting to notice. Actually, let me see if I can play this example. I think this is actually a prime example right here of this woman who's just like, I'm ready to not be by myself. But then she goes on to explain and she's kind of like, I want to be able to work, but I want to be able to work while I'm being taken care of. And I'm not mad at her for being honest. I'm not mad at her for being honest, but that is slightly different than I want companionship. I would desire to be with a masculine man because men add value just for who they are. You know what I mean? Like that's different versus being like, I just want a man to basically pay the bills so I can just kind of do what I want and pursue my dreams and stuff without having like the burden of like taking care of myself. I'm going to play this as an example because I think this is an example of like the kind of I need you or I want a relationship narrative is going. Some of it is about genuine companionship and some of it is about looking for what some of y'all may call a sponsor.
Tired of hustling. I can't explain how the last 5 years of my life has literally drained me. The 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 years of my life has just drained me because of I've been working super hard. I'm now going into my 30s, and yes, I do feel like a man should be able to provide the security it is that I need because I've been figuring it out myself and holding it all up on myself for a very, very long time.
So you know that she said, I'm in my 30s. And I do think a man should be able to provide security and stuff. Y'all heard that? And listen, I'm not mad at her for being honest. You know, she's telling you what she wants. A woman has the right to want what she wants. Now, that doesn't mean that men have to comply. But I'm not mad at her for saying what she wants. But some men or a lot of men are going to look at this and be like, oh, so you just want a sponsor.
And it just becomes a time in your life where you want to rest in your femininity and you just want to know that things are handled. Yes, I do feel like a woman should have things of her own, but I also just feel like when you're dealing with a man, we're craving for security at a certain age. We want to know that things are okay. We want to know that, damn, if I can't figure this out right now, he maybe can take over. He maybe can take the lead and figure it out for me. But it's just, I no longer want to be the woman, the Miss Independent, the Miss Big Money, the one with all the drive, the one with all the ambition, the one with all the plans, the one that's gonna just lead every single thing because it makes me stressed out.
Okay, let me say this real quick. First of all, again, I'm not mad at her. I applaud her honesty. I actually applaud her honesty because there are a lot of women who feel this way. They are sold a particular dream and narrative, and the downsides or the pressures associated with that dream are usually never told, and they get to a certain point where they're just like, look, I just want to be able to be feminine and rest. The challenge with this, connecting to what you said about the survival mode, the challenge is if you have been Miss Independent, like kind of survival mode, ambition, boss babe, or whatever, like if you've been in that and you haven't been resting in your femininity the entirety of your life, it isn't just like automatically changed because a man enters the room. And that's what I think ladies don't understand about this whole idea of like, this whole idea of, what is it, like conditional femininity, where I can only be feminine under the conditions that a man is there paying my bills. See, it doesn't work like that, because you can still work and have a job or have a career and be feminine. Just because a woman has a career doesn't mean that she can't be feminine for her man. And this is one of the main issues that I've had with some of the toxic, I think, narratives that have come out of feminism. Like this idea that, oh, you can't be in a relationship because you got to focus on your grind or focus on your career, whatever, whatever. I'm like, y'all can't multitask? Y'all cannot multitask. You mean to tell me that you don't have the ability to like have a job or a career and have a man? Like since when did they have to conflict? Like they don't. But I think that's the challenge, is sometimes women really believe like they have to get to a certain point, they have to grind. And so they're in this like what they may consider a more of a masculine frame. They're pursuing that. And they don't understand that like you don't actually you don't have to like wait to be feminine. That's what I'm saying. Like, how long should I wait to be feminine? Like, you're not supposed to have to wait to be feminine. Like, if you're a woman, your femininity, if you feel like you have to turn it on and off, that is the problem. And so some guys will look at this and be like, they don't want to be with a woman in survival mode, AKA they don't want to be with a woman who actually hasn't learned how to embrace her femininity at any phase of life. Because if you feel like now you're in your 30s or 40s and now you want to be in your feminine, where it's like, well, where was your femininity before? You want to rest in it now? Well, what were you doing with your femininity the first 30 years? Because it is possible to do both. And that's what I think a lot of ladies, ladies were lied to. It's possible to do both. And quite frankly, women for thousands of years have done both. Like women have, in all different cultural contexts and all different socioeconomic backgrounds, there have been women who work, whether it was they were working, on the farm, whether they were, sewing, working in their own small at-home business, or working with their husbands or their family business, whatever. Like women have always worked or kept some form of trade or skill while being like still a feminine woman. So if a woman is saying, okay, now I want to be feminine, or now I want to be able to rest in it, my question is, where did it go like the first? They're just like, this seemed conditional, because now if you think that I'm going to come in your life and you're going to automatically be able to connect with me in a feminine way, like these are things that you hopefully should have learned how to do as a young woman. These are things that you are trained to do. You are just nurtured into as a young girl coming of age. And unfortunately, there's a lot of Black women like we weren't nurtured in that sense. So you kind of have to learn later on.
Like it makes me feel like I'm continuously in survival mode because I'm trying to figure out things, and it's just very, very stressful. I do desire as a woman a marriage where things are taken care of. Now I'm always want to have my goals. I just want the
She said a marriage where things are taken care of. So y'all hear what she's saying? She desires a marriage, hence a marriage where things are taken care of, bills are paid, the house is everything's taken care of. She's not worrying about light bill, water bill, food, mortgage, or rent, depending upon the situation. She's just able to just kind of relax and do what she wants to do and pursue what she wants to do. Most women want this. Another, I think, challenge is her desire isn't necessarily wrong. I'm not mad at a woman for wanting this setup. Most women would like this setup. The problem, again, is these are the kinds of things that you get to benefit from generally when you like invest in that, right? Like the same way women take years investing in their career, investing in wanting to pursue a particular degree or whatever, is the same way I believe in which we should investing in becoming the kind of wives and mothers that we say we want to be. Because the problem is women, like they'll spend all this time developing skills to work in a corporate setting. And unfortunately, even that's going away now. but they won't necessarily take the time to also understand what it means to nurture a home, what it means to nurture children, what it means to get along with a man, what it means to just build a legacy or a family with a man. Like they don't spend any time even understanding that. And so when they get to a certain age, they want it and it's a genuine desire, but they haven't put themselves in positions to actually be able to attract it. And so it sounds like this woman, that's what she's alluding to. And quite frankly, a lot of Black women, this is their experience because they didn't grow up seeing it. They grew up knowing how to work. Because listen, that's one thing Black women do. Black women have always worked. Like we were the original labor force. Black people, Black men especially. And then when Black women were forcefully brought over, they're the original like workforce. So Black women have always been comfortable working. But as far as like nurturing a home, and knowing what that means, those are the values, some of the values that were like lost, tossed to the side, or in some ways, demonized. Like I said, you have women to this day who choose to live that way and they're going against the grain. They're going against the grain. But then when women get to a point where they're doing what they're told, they're doing the kind of normal sisterhood thing, which is pursuing the career, trying to be the boss babe, trying to get the grind, they get to a certain age and they're like, man, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. And I want to be wife. And I'm like, that's a genuine desire, but do you even know what that means? Because it isn't just, you don't just like become a housewife just because a man pays your bills. Those are things that you have to nurture, Okay, so this one here, it says, wait, let me see. Not all snakes are venomous, but okay. This one says, the problem is too many Black women. Okay, I think we read that one. This one here, it says, I have dated good Black women, but there's always friends, family, social media, constantly bombarding anti-Black with Sandry, someone in her ear. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Something else that I've personally learned this, the hard way myself. And I can say that I know many Black women that they've been their experience. The reality is in the West, in America, because America is not a family producing culture. We are not a culture that like aggressively, actively raises families or even has an economy that really supports it. That's not like America is, inherently capitalist, individualist, secularist, like that. Those are more the values. So because of that, anytime a woman gets in a marriage with a man and is, attempting to live in a way that might be considered more traditionally minded or whatever, she is inherently going against the grain. Because I mentioned America, not only is it secularist, it's feminist. It is feminist minded. And it's been like this for decades in media and education. I mean, just in certain industries. It's feminist by nature. So if a woman chooses to live a lifestyle that might go against the feminist narrative, AKA choosing to be a wife, maybe even a stay-at-home wife, maybe even a traditional wife, she is going to have to go against the grain. So what that is likely going to mean is that there may be people in her immediate friend group. There's going to be some sisters, some cousins, some friends, there's family. There's going to be someone likely in her personal life, or maybe even people in her personal life that are going to be antagonistic to her because she is going against the dominant culture. And some way she's going against the sister code. And this is something that I think it's really important for Black women, particularly Black American women, to understand. We do not come from a culture that produces marriages or families. We do not come from a culture that values marriages or families. Even if it did at one point, it doesn't now. For decades, it has not. It's been overrun by feminism. And feminism puts family as kind of like a bottom priority to female liberation, female expression, female whatever. So I think you make a really, really good point too, where it's like, even if getting with Black women they are lovely to be with, they are great, personalities, they have great skills, or they're peaceful, whatever, they're still going to have to contend with the environment that they're in. And ultimately, at some point, they're going to have to make a choice to likely have to be antagonistic to somebody or people in her circle that she knows. And that's the sad truth. She might have to seek out a community or spaces or places where she can actually be supported in her marriage or what she's building with her man, because in most instances, there's going to be somebody or some people who are in some way going to try to come against that relationship. This one here says Luke and Shulin are working and being with their men. Juan is literally mowing lawns and getting actual respect, love, and a beverage. Yeah, making little money. You and these names. I was like, wait, what? You and these names. Now listen, because I happen to know people of like different, being in the Bay Area, like it's incredibly diverse. And so I have close friends who are Asians. I have, close friends from the Hispanic community. So best believe I know women of all capacities, spaces, and places who are incredibly feminist. Like I can think of like three Asian friends that I have right now who are deep in their 30s, 40s, single, no man in sight, not necessarily looking for one. Or they've come to conclusions that they don't want one, and they kind of have feminist leaning ideas. Honestly, these are Asian women. The same with Latina women. So I can't say that like all these cultures are necessarily, they're all free of the American ideal of feminism. But I think the difference is women have always been leading the charge. Like women have always been like the face of feminism. They've been the face of it, and quite frankly, we're just the loudest and the most aggressive. And so I was like, listen, you have Asian women have the reputation of being the most docile and super submissive. If you actually talk to Asian women, if you know Asian women, they will tell you that is not necessarily truthful at all, particularly in the Chinese culture, right? I have Chinese friends who told me they're just like, Chinese moms and grandmas are like, they like run the household. Like, don't get it twisted. These are what some of my Chinese friends have told me. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert, but I'm just saying, like, when you actually know people from this community, they'll let you know what time it is, but they have a better reputation. Like, they just have their, like, reputation management, their PR is way better than Black women. Black women's PR is horrid. It is horrible right now. So I do think that plays a role to a certain extent. And then also what you're mentioning is, like, these people, like, they're still coming from, like, intact nations and cultures, right? Like, if you're coming from China, if you're coming from Mexico, if you're coming like from these other nations, like they still have a culture that's been going on for hundreds, if not thousands of years, that to a certain extent it can operate as a buffer to this American culture. But, Black Americans, it's like, and that's a whole different conversation, but depending upon how you identify, some like they're starting at the plantation. So you're talking a few hundred years that they've had to develop a cultural understanding. And that's way different than someone who's coming from like China and has had thousands of years of marriage culture, has had thousands of years of like family culture. You know what I mean? Like it's completely different. So I think that also plays a role. But shout out to you, Inking Later. It says, seeing how some of these women have projected their self-hatred and colorism to the Black men while using us as a scapegoat has left bad taste in my mouth. Between the feminists and the divestors, it's tiring. Shout out to you. This is again, you guys are helping me understand why there might be distrust when you are seeing all the I love you Black men videos, why there might be some lack of empathy or quite frankly, just a lack of concern. I also heard this idea too, that some men are just waiting for it to crash and burn. Because their thing is the system that has been set up and the system that has been cultivated, the dynamic that's been cultivated between Black men and Black women, it's so bad that we have to allow it to crash and burn and then build it from the ground up. So I've heard also this idea that the reason that Black men are kind of like, they may be taking a step back, or they may be like, I want to just watch from the sidelines, is because they're like, I am not willing to actively try to save or maintain the current setup that I actually think is really detrimental. Right? Like it's trying to like salvage like a bad moldy building or whatever. Right? It's like, no, I'd rather let me demolish, let the whole thing demolish, let it all crash and burn. Right? And then once that's done, then we can rebuild. So I've also heard some men who are coming from the standpoint of, it's not that I don't want to invest and I'm not willing to build, but I'm not willing to build what was there before. I want it to all completely fall down. I want it to all completely disintegrate and then start from the ground up building something that is actually more cohesive for Black men and women in the family. So that's also something I've heard too. This one here, it says, Hector does odd jobs at Home Depot and gets more respect from Maria than we get from Keisha. I mean, y'all in these names. This one here, it says, also feminism has burnt the other end of the candle. Soft life is revisionist traditionalism. So they capture women who want traditional relations. Now, here's the thing about feminism, and I talked about this in a video I posted earlier today, right? You know, there is this question of whether or not feminism has failed Black women, particularly in this last year. We saw this in the election when Black women, the collective, I would say, of Black women were really disappointed at white women who they believed that they had a political alliance with. And so I saw many Black women who are just like, you know, sit this one out, you know, embrace the soft life. We're not going to save you anymore. Like, they were really disappointed because they had believed that they had cultivated enough of a sisterhood or an alliance with white feminists that was going to be able to stand against what Trump represented. And so when that didn't happen, and you still saw a significant amount of white women vote for Trump, who's very anti-feminist. I mean, he may say, you know, one thing, but as far as his policies have actively gone against some feminist wins, Black women, many Black women took that really personally, right? And then we've seen just over the last year, what has it meant when many of those programs, many of some of the different governmental institutional programs, what does it mean for feminism when that funding is removed? And we're seeing like the results of that in real time. The results of that in real time is, you know, a 40% a 40% rise among unemployment in Black women. Put another way, without white institutional dollars funding feminist initiatives, feminist programs, scholarships, loans, different things that would ultimately be able to put Black women in a better position, without that funding, a lot of them are out of luck. And so that's why, you know, I asked the question, I was like, man, like, has feminism failed Black women in 2026? Because if you look at what's happened over the last year for Black women, it's been really, really, it's been really detrimental. And I do think it goes down to the fact that at the end of the day, when feminism is not propped up by white institutional dollars, it loses its political power. Now, the thing is, the ideas are already out there. The ideas are already out there in media and television or whatever. But, you know, there's this question of, if there continues to remain less and less money, dollars, or investment in it, what is this going to mean in the long term? What will this mean? Because it's like it almost seems like what value will it really serve, particularly under this current regime? I don't know. It's more of a question. I can't say I have the answer to it, but it's a question that I've had for sure. Okay, so again, thank you guys so much for the super chats. I wanted to make sure that I got through it, and you guys are making some really. That go the money. That go the money. So okay, so going back to, I wanted to show this example of this woman right here, who let me see if she's done speaking.
Things that I want to do with my life to be like figure out things, and there's no, it's just very, very stressful. I do desire as a woman a marriage where things are taken care of. Now, I'm always going to have my goals. I just want the things that I want to do with my life to be like my passion projects. Like, yes, I'm still going to work on the business that I'm working on. Yes, I'm still going to be working on my career, but I don't want to be working on what I'm working on out of survival mode because I'm trying to hold everything over the top of my head.
You live in a world that's designed to hijack.
I don't need that ad, but y'all got it. I wanted to play that because I thought she was really honest, first of all. You know, I think she was kind of explaining the kind of setup that I would argue a lot of women might be happy for. A setup where she's with a man who's paying the bills, he's taking care of things, he's holding it down, right? And so she doesn't have to worry about bills, houses, money, you know, mortgage, rent, car payment, whatever. She don't have to worry about any of that. She gets to spend her free time pursuing her passion projects, but not necessarily with the weight associated with having to like run a business or really carry any financial load. Like that's essentially what she described. And listen, you know, I'm here to tell you there is nothing wrong with a woman having a desire. A woman can have whatever desire that she wants. Now, that doesn't mean that men have to comply. Men are not obligated to comply. And then I will also add to that, you know, when a woman wants a setup where the man is basically paying all the bills, or he's, you know, running things financially or whatever, and she's just pursuing a job as like a passion, generally those kinds of setups, those kinds of dynamics, like you being a wife is something that you develop since day one. This is something that hopefully you'd be nurtured into as a young girl coming of age. Being a wife, you don't just like get a man to pay the bills and then now you're a wife. Like that's something that is supposed to be cultivated the same way a woman may be cultivated into learning how to talk and then walk and then eventually cook and then get skills to go into college or pursue a particular career. Like we understand the value of cultivating skill sets that are necessary for our career of choice. But we were not taught to also value how important it is to cultivate particular skills needed to raise a family, to be a wife, to eventually be a mother, or whatever. We are not taught that. So I think that's the problem that I have with this whole resting in your femininity. I'm like, your femininity should never be turned off. There should never be a time as a woman that you're putting your femininity on the back burner to choose a job. Like you don't have to choose between both. So that's to me is what gets crazy. Here it says the TikTok trend of asking ChatGPT to create your dream family with their boyfriend, fiance, husband is dominated by white women with black men as partners. White women, black men are far compatible with each other than Keisha. I'm not familiar with this trend you're saying of. So there's a trend of people using ChatGPT to create your own family. Man, I mean, TikTok keeps on, it just keeps on getting weirder and weirder. But shout out to you for the 10. Shout out to you for the 10. Okay, so I had a few more examples, and then in a bit I will probably open up the call lines because I want to hear some of your guys' feedback. But before I do so, I wanted to, I'm probably not going to play the whole thing, but I wanted to show you guys another video again that kind of inspired this particular conversation that we're having right now. I just posted it. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, I just posted this yesterday. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I wanted to play enough. And then again, we're going to go down to the comments and then I'll be like, okay, see, y'all are really saying some things. And I think it's about time that we listen or at least have the conversation. So let me pull this up right here. Now, let me say this. I'm going to mention this too. I also have to keep into consideration that each platform is different. Because let me tell you this, anytime I post something on X that says, I love you, black men, I always get an insane amount of positive feedback. It don't matter. Actually, let me just show you an example. I just posted this. This is just something I posted. What was it? Was it yesterday? All that said was, I love you, black man. It has over 100,000 views, right? I just want to show you guys an example because on X, it seems to me that the responses are a lot more positive outside of the different, outside of some of the different trolls who be in the comment section. But in general, I notice a completely different response when it comes to these things on X, which I find intriguing. So here, this is I love you, black man. And she's doing like a little poem. Here it says, beyond, wow, I needed to hear this with my heart and soul. This one, it says, amen. Now this one, it says, I hope she was never an investor. So we have some skepticism here. This one here is finally a little respect for our sisters. The last one was Angie Stone, hand clapping. This one says, that's love. I think, so out of all these comments, I've seen one that was maybe skeptical, but most of it's positive. It says, I love you too, Takio-ish. This one says, even if she is an exception, it doesn't change the rule. Okay, now this one is being a little more like, nah, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. This one says, now watch a white woman copy this bar for bar. This one says, thank you, thank you. So a heart, love, heart, you know, hands up, heart, beautiful heart. We love you more, Black woman. So, I mean, I would say that like the responses that I get on TikTok, on X, they are so much, they're generally a lot different, oftentimes a lot more positive. Now, like I said, you're right. X is a completely alternate universe. It is. I mean, that for me, I just say this is the app that you go on if like you just want, if you just want to argue. Like X is an app for like arguing. A lot of times I just post stuff. I don't even really get super deep. I'm just posting stuff, whatever, right? So I understand like it's a whole different world there, but I do find it interesting that like I find that like I love you Black men videos and compilations are a lot more positive there. And I don't know if it's just because of X is so much more volatile and I think the racism honestly is just so much more blatant on that platform. Like it's not really regulated at all. So I don't know if that's why, but that is something that I found to be really interesting. Okay, so I'm going to remove this. I just wanted to show you guys a brief example. And then now we're going to go into just real briefly. I'm going to share with you guys real briefly the video that I shared just yesterday. We won't watch the whole thing, but again, I want to look at some of the comments and talk through what it is that you guys are noticing with these different movements, if you will. Okay.
I done loved a Black man so deep into safety that I know all his secrets. I'm his right hand, his caretaker. I'm the two eyes behind his back. Can't nothing get past me, not a fake friend or a double scan on his receipt. It all got to go through me. I want my husband's biggest flex to be how well I take care of myself, how well I take care of him while never neglecting myself. I pour because I'm priority, but him, he makes sure that I'm replenished and that I never run dry. Because my biggest flex ain't only how well I'm cared for, but how often I'm considered. We love each other in ways that are fairy tales and foreign languages to our younger selves, and we ain't get this from no examples, but from loving somebody so deep that you study them. How can I be of service to you? What do you need from me? It ain't no pride where I lay my heart at. What do you wish you could have received growing up that I can give you now? Love the boy, heal the man. We ain't know each other as kids, but we grew up together. And love, it ain't no object that you just go pick up and find. You build it day by day, brick by brick, with tears rolling down your face. You sit down and talk it out with your best friend. When you make promises with the condition that they hold up their end of the bargain, show up as who you said you was going to be. I held a mirror up to a Black man one day and I asked him, did he see God himself or me? And he said, I see all three.
Sorry guys, ads. I hate these ads, but somebody told me how to get rid of them.
I want you to understand that you were created for impact. You have purpose. You are so much bigger than this current moment. And I want you to understand that even when it feels heavy, every step that you choose to take forward is guiding you to better, to greater, to bigger. Trust yourself and know that you got this. Even when it's unclear, you are still walking in purpose. I love you. Bye.
Rich Rising, everyone. Okay, so for over the last month or so, I've been doing a lot of videos and I ask a lot of questions and I get a lot of answers from men. And today I really just want to take the time to talk to my Black men. I want to tell you that it's okay. It's going to be okay. And that you are seen, you are recognized more than you think you are. You are definitely loved. You are appreciated. You are needed. We need you as Black women. I admire your strength. I admire your resilience. I admire everything that makes you a man. And to take it a step further, I just need you to know that you are a king. Okay? You are a king and you matter to all of those around you. Okay? I just wanted to tell you that I love you, Black man, from the bottom of my heart. Black man, I love you and we need you.
Hey, Black man. Hear me when I say this with the certainty of sunrise. You are carved from the breath of God and the brilliance of galaxies. Your spirit is not an accident. It is an architecture, divine design, wrapped in melanin and might. I speak life over you today, not in a whisper, but in a voice born from generations who prayed you forward. You carry their strength, you carry their rhythm, you carry their fire, and I honor every flame inside of you. Black man, this world tests you, tries you, underestimates you, but still you rise like smoke from holy incense, refusing to disappear. Your resilience is revelation, your presence is prophecy, your walk is testimony wrapped in grace. I admire the warrior in you, not just the one who fights battles, but the one who chooses peace when chaos begs for your attention, the one who protects without asking, loves without limit, and guards his purpose like sacred ground. But let me affirm this to you. You deserve rest from the world's demands. You are worthy of softness, warmth, and unquestioned safety.
We love you, Black men. In the quiet ways that don't always get said out loud, in the moments you're expected to be strong without ever being soft. In the weight you carry and still show up with. We love you for surviving systems that were never built with your safety in mind. For learning how to flow in a world that punishes you for choosing tenderness, even when hardness will still ask protection. We love you when you're tired, when you don't have the words, when you're healing and still figuring out what that even looks like. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of care. We love you beyond stereotypes, beyond expectations, beyond the roles you were forced to play just to be seen. You deserve peace that isn't earned through pain. We love you for your laughter, for vulnerability, growth, for choosing love in a world that keeps staring you not to see you. We appreciate you and you're allowed to rest there.
How y'all gonna be mad at me because I love my Black men?
It's Brandy here, and I'm gonna tell you this. The most precious, most delicate human on this earth is the Black man.
Okay, y'all. So I just said I'll wrap. Okay. Okay, so okay, y'all are so petty in these y'all are so petty in these comments. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Y'all are so anyways, again, so every so often I'll do the I Love You Black Men compilation videos. I like to kind of just keep a tab on that when new ones come up and just share it. You know what I mean? Because I think it's good. I mean, for me personally, like with all of the mess that we be seeing, I always like to try to highlight ladies who are saying something positive. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. Like some of the stuff to me, even me as a woman, does feel very much contrived and just like, bro, like you're sitting there with a poem. Like it doesn't feel heartfelt to me. But listen, I'm not a man, so I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna share it. I'm just gonna share the message. Y'all can judge it however you want. But okay, what I wanted to look at again was the comments. Oh, shout out to Kendra G. Shout out to her. She's coming up. I wanted to look at the comments. So the first one, I had to pin this. Again, shout out to Malarkey. He's been a long time member. Member for 4 years. Oh my goodness. Malarkey has been a member for 4 years. Shout out to you, Malarkey, in the building, if Malarkey's here. Or when Malarkey catches the replay. So right here, Malarkey says, Black men have been attacked by Black women so much that this sounds like gaslighting. That's the first comment. I had to pin it because I was like, boom. I think Malarkey probably speaks for some of you. Not all, but some. So let's look in the replies. Now this one here says exactly, I appreciate that you are able to see the perspective many Black men hold. This one here says there's a bozo spammy comments telling us we should ignore what we've been experiencing. You see how slow they are, not aware that every move they make is like quicksand. So I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to. Like if someone is saying like you shouldn't be mad or you shouldn't be questioning, I'm not sure. But that was the response. This one here, it says it's grifting. This one here says, I hear you, but I do not share your sentiment. This video is like music to my ears. There is no love better than Black love, right? So this one's like, listen, I can understand where you're coming from, but also like, I'm not going to be mad at women like for saying nice, positive, encouraging things. And listen, some people are words of affirmation people. Like some people, men and women, just, they really vibe off of words of affirmation. If you're not that person, then this may not resonate with you as much. But like, I can understand for certain people, like they're going to like it and that's cool. This one, we're not falling for the reach back. Says this one, stop it. This is lame. Why are you so negative? Get a life. Now it's a problem when Black women show love to Black men. Like, hush. So there's this idea of like, why are y'all so quick? Why are y'all so quick to want to just question and like just criticize and completely throw down anytime Black women try to do something positive. Like y'all are obviously triggered, you're obviously, you know, traumatized, or you got mommy issues or whatever. Like, why are you doing this? And this wouldn't be the first time. Like I have heard other Black men being like, y'all need to stop with this negativity. Yeah, there's some Black women who do some crazy things, but this genuine hatred towards the woman of your own race is some like raccoon stuff. Like I hear Black men who also have that perspective. So that's interesting. Now this one here, it says the damage is done, winter is here, keep it moving, SYSPM. This one here, it says them default loans need to be paid. Don't fall for it, fellas. This one here says what they did to destroy the Black community, did it all for Zaddy. Now Zaddy has discarded them, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so bills got to get paid somehow. It's like they talking holding a knife behind their back. So this is someone who's just like, you're saying one thing, but I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Another thing here. Another thing I noticed is that there is a lot of neck, chest, and sleeve tattoos in this video. Real celeb quality here. Oh my goodness. Bills, Destiny Child. Oh my gosh. This one says, with the type of love Black women are giving Black men, we don't need enemies. This one here says they have already shown their true face. Too late to put the mask on. I mean, when I showed that video, I think it was maybe like 2 months ago, which I saw, it's crazy. My husband got mad because he was like, we saw some, I think it was, I don't know what his name is. He's like some popular content creator that like reposted my video, but like put his brand on it. He put like his name. I think his name was like Ole something. He's like some content creator that I think like brand himself as like pro-Black or Pan-African, but like he had reposted one of the videos that I did and like put his brand name over it. But anyways, it was a video that I had shared of the different women who were, and you could hear it in their voices that you were Black women, because y'all know that Black women have a particular way that they talk. And so these are Black women who were like conspiring with like the Klan on actually handling Black men. And it's, you know, it's things like that that really have some men being like, we feel like you're holding a knife in the back, even when you say these positive things, because these different examples that have been egregious. And I do understand, I'm not going to hold you, like I understand that bots are real. Absolutely. There are bots. I do think that there are, you know, sometimes the alphabet boys do pay some people to try to sow seeds of dissension. Like I do believe that that is real. So I'm not going to act like that doesn't happen. But to what degree? And I think the way we can kind of know, I think the way we can kind of gauge this is also dealing with the personal interactions that you're having in your own experience. Like social media is its own reality, it's its own world. But if anything, I think social media should be an extension of what you're having in real life. So like if you have good interactions in real life with people, then you're going to see social media as just like, okay, that's just like whatever. It's whatever, right? Like it's just one example, but you're not going to really, you know, take it that seriously. However, if what you're experiencing in your real life is being reflected back to you on social media, then you may be like, yeah, no, this is just further reiterating what I've already believed to be true. So yes, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I mean, you guys got the comments. I do have some time. I wanted to open up the call line. Shout out for those of you guys who've shown love and support. Shout out to you again. Salute, Shay. Shout out to you for being a member for 11 months. Shout out to you. I really appreciate it. This one here says Jim Crow mating strategy, actions, not words. I think you hit the nail on the head, game changer. And that's kind of what I said before too. I think a lot of men are just looking at all of this and they're just like, the issue that we have with all of this word salad is that we actually don't feel this in our real life. We don't feel this. Like if the interpersonal and then the like collective behavior of Black women between Black men was different, then I think this would land totally differently. But it's hard when you've had the last 60 years of feminism and there's been countless examples of openly misandrous content and ideas and think pieces and yeah, I feel like things that have been championed, unfortunately, by Black women themselves. And then all of a sudden, 60 years into it, you're just going to do a few compilation videos, I love you black men t-shirts, and then think that it's going to be like fine. And that doesn't really fly when the experiences of men are not reflecting the words. And that's why I've always said, you know, I say this to women. I'm like, if you really love black men, the best way to do that is like get offline, first of all, because a lot of ladies are just doing that for online validation, especially if you're just like, oh, share this with people, tag, post, you know, like if you're a black woman doing these I love you black men compilation videos, and then you're always ending it with like, share, subscribe, post it, then I'm like, okay, so you're doing this for validation. You're really doing this for views, attention. But the best way to show that you actually love black men is to probably get offline and then to demonstrate that in your own everyday life, starting with the black men who are immediately in you, or not in you, but around you. You know what I mean? I mean, in you. Listen, some of them, unfortunately, they got too much going on there. But you know what I mean? Like, starting with the black men that are around you, right? Who are in your community. You start there. If you can't show respect to them, then it's like we don't need to hear a video, we don't need to hear a song, I don't need a poem, I don't need a monologue, and I don't need a video compilation. You need to learn how to get along with the men in your life. That's like step one, because that is so much more powerful than a little 30-second video compilation with your breast out. You talking low, the lights on, you know, the lights dimly lit. You got it positioned where you see the side of your breast profile and collarbones. You just got your hair did, lashes on point. You know what I mean? Like that is going to be a lot more realistic to me to demonstrate this in everyday life. And see, the thing about that is that's harder, because what that requires is no social validation. You're not going to have any social validation if you do that in your real life. In fact, you may actually have some black women who hate black men judge you and say that you're being a pick-me or you're doing too much for that man. So you may face some pushback from other black women. You're not going to get the social validation. You might get, you know, like I said, ostracized from the sisterhood. And then also you're going to have to learn how to get along with men, which means you're going to have to listen to them. And again, that's something a lot of ladies don't really want to do. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. But anyways, let me drop the call line. I know you guys have been patient enough. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's see, call in here. And while I'm waiting for you guys to join, let me read the rest of these comments. This one here says, black men have been disrespected, emasculated, and gaslit for 60 years. Now the Dwight McManus has tossed them aside. They're looking at black men. Nah, we good. And that goes back to what I said before. Without the white institutional dollars, it appears as if black feminism doesn't have really anything. Because they don't have programs, they don't have loans, they don't have scholarships, they don't have the things that you would essentially need in order to be able to, you know, uplift and empower black women who are in between jobs, who maybe they got laid off, but they want to start a business. Like that funding has been pulled under this current administration. So it's shown me that like, oh, black feminism, I don't think it really was a natural outgrowth as much as it was a government supported initiative. And without the government there to support it, then a lot of these talking heads, a lot of these ideas, a lot of these organizations, they're not getting support from their actual community that they come from. And that's what's been fascinating to me in this season. Okay, so we got Mrs. E Black in Effect, we got Game Changer. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's going on, Shay?
Hey. Okay, so we covered off a lot. Who wants to get started?
Go ahead, Game Changer. I'll go after you.
Okay. So when I say a Jim Crow era mating strategy, what I'm referring to is during Jim Crow, I'm pretty sure, I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of black men felt very low, like a deficit, the world was on their shoulders, blah, 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 blah. You know, they felt less than. Because it's an institution, you have the government, you know, enforcing policies that put you in a less than position. So I believe that at that time, it was very easy to stroke the ego of a man whose ego was broken on a daily basis. All they have to do is come up and say, oh, you're king, you're strong, you endured. And he's like, oh, because she was his only comfort in a very hostile world. And that was the mating strategy of a lot of black women of the time. You just build up a person whose society has broken down. Now, without that society breakdown, and this is when the hatred of black men started, you have a lot of black men who, by their standards, were uppity, arrogant, whatever you want to call it, but they didn't really feel the weight of a Jim Crow society. So when a woman came, like the reel that you showed, on some, oh, you're strong, you're this, and this, she comes across a black man like me, like, B, I know what I am. What are you gonna do for me? Like, I mean, you don't have to tell me that. I'll sit wherever I want to because it's my car and I'm not on the bus.
Right.
So it's a lot more difficult, and they find themselves a little confused. And I think that the video that you showed is really just them attempting to do that, or it's a re-attempt to bring back old seduction techniques. It's like, listen, we're not broken down. Therefore, we don't need you to build us up from a deficit. We need you to, if a man is a lawyer, we need you to actually build his law firm, not tell him how strong he is. That's how he got to where he is.
That's a really, really good, that's a really interesting perspective. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you make a lot of sense. And it's funny too, what you said about a law firm. I was just having this conversation with my husband not too long ago about how the high value man, because I posted something and I saw one of the comments, and I think it was a black man. He was just like, oh, it's black men's fault for not giving black women jobs, basically. And I'm like, wait, so we're blaming Jermaine for white people like removing institutional dollars, right? So I was talking to my husband about that, and he's like, the issue is the black men who are qualified or who are building businesses or those industries, they're not necessarily always around black women who are able to help. Whether you have a law firm, okay, can you find a black woman who has even the skill set or the desire or the acumen or the training to be able to help you to build that law firm? Does she even want to? Does she even want to come alongside you? That's just one example. So, there's something to be said also about when you get to a certain place, what skills do you have as a woman to actually now be able to help that man there? Not from the bottom, but when he's at the top or when he's at that place, how are you able to actually help him?
Well, I'll go for it.
No, and I was just gonna say, going back to kind of what I said about we reviewed that woman earlier. I don't know if you saw it, where she was just like, I'm tired of working. I want a man to basically pay the bills so I can like rest my femininity. And I was like, the thing is, you don't just like get married and become a wife. Like being a wife is something that you're nurtured into starting from a young girl. And a lot of women don't know how to be, like they know how to work, but they actually don't know how to be wives and how to nurture a man's vision for the family, all of that. I think that's a big disconnect.
They don't mean wives, Shay. They mean pampered partners.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Well, I mean, you don't actually have to be a paralegal to help your man who's a lawyer, or who is, a young man who's becoming a lawyer. I think that to be honest, I don't think that they actually want to help. Within many black women, and this is something I noticed anecdotally, and you probably did too here living in the Bay, is that there's a sense of inferiority that goes along with a lot of black women. And they feel that if a man reaches a certain level of success, then he will, like Kanye West said, leave you for a white girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave you for a white girl.
Mm-hmm.
So why would she help a man become successful if that's the inevitable results in her mind? Right. So they'll never actually help, and you don't need to be a paralegal. I mean, every effort that you make, in the house, laundry and stuff like that, every hour that you spend doing that so he don't have to is an hour that he can dedicate to his craft. And in this case, law, in this example, law. They don't want to go for it.
No, I'm sorry. You finish, and then I'll add it, and then I see a few of the people in the back who want to chime in.
Okay. Shay, I only have one thing to say before you go, Game Changer. Shay, I got two favors to ask for you. Well, one favor, but it's two things. Look up the definition for autonomy for me real quick, because I'm going to ask you to read it in a minute. And maybe you want to open another window for the definition of negative liberty, because I'm going to ask you to read it when you get to me.
Autonomy. Okay. So autonomy, and then you said
negative liberty. And I'm sorry about that, Game Changer. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. But no, they don't actually want to do that. And as far as what your husband or you were saying about, it's always Jermaine's fault. Basically, it's the black man's fault for not being able to hire black women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's just them moving the bar. Remember what I was saying about the Jim Crow mating strategy, which means that they are adept at seducing men with crushed egos. So now that society is not crushing a black man's ego, they feel that they must do it first and then seduce him. It's kind of like burning someone's house down and then giving them water or selling them water.
Really interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so it looks like I got a few in the back. I will say about being, because I've been in the Bay Area my entire life. I'm still here today, right? I will say that about Black women not wanting to help. I think there's this genuine belief that Black men are on their high horse. And so for a Black woman to help a Black man get to a certain point is to further boost his already inflated ego. Like I can remember one of my brother-in-laws attending UC Berkeley, and I want to say it was either him or one of his friends who was talking about how there was like some event that they were going to. It was a Black event, and I think when they were trying to walk in there, like there was a sign that says "Black men check your ego," right, or like check your privilege. So it was already like out the gate, like we need to make sure that we humble you.
Right.
And that's something that I can say that I've very much ran into in these spaces, because the assumption is that Black men in the Bay, they're already on their high horse. They already have too much of an inflated ego. So instead of me helping him so that his ego becomes more inflated, I have to bring him down to earth. I have to bring him down to earth. And if he dates a white woman, that's because he wants someone to stroke his ego. He wants someone who's not going to call him out on his BS. This is what I grew up hearing.
No, and I've come to the same conclusion. So yeah, we grew up very close to each other. So I've come to the same conclusion. And and that's why you wrote your book, by the book. It's not Jermaine's fault, because they have to destroy a Black man's ego, especially in places like where we grew up, where there was never really any Jim Crow. So we always kind of grew up with the sugar honey iced tea. Black men kind of like always had that. And the unfortunate thing for Black men, and other races don't have to go through this crap, is that we just so happen to be very, very, very attractive while broke. So we really don't. No, honestly. So they don't want to combine that with money. Like if you are an Oriental person, and you become a doctor or something, Asian women are not going to care. They're not going to feel threatened because you're still a little man with a little penis. So they don't really have to worry about their women getting jealous if they become too successful, which is why they out-earn everyone here.
It's interesting though. I mentioned being close friends, then I'll move on to the someone else who wants to weigh in. I mentioned, I've had a lot of close friends who are Asians, and I've talked to them a lot about just relationship dynamics and different cultures. I remember one in particular telling me that her mom straight up told her that she only wanted her to marry an Asian or a white man. If she brought home a Black man, that she would lose her inheritance.
That's my cue. That's my cue right there, Shay. I was waiting. I'm waiting because I wanted to say that to you earlier when you mentioned your Asian girlfriends, your Asian homegirls, by saying yes. They offer their autonomy and their liberty and their freedom now, and they don't want to be married. But I guarantee you, if we send Bartholomew III, that 6'3" with the chiseled chin and $250,000 a year earner, I guarantee you she going, no matter how toxic he is. She going.
Absolutely.
Right. So let me do this real quick. Shay, did you get those definitions from me?
I did. So did you want me to read? What was it? Autonomy?
Yes. Yeah. Read autonomy first, and we're gonna ducktail that into negative liberty. Somebody's echoing.
Okay. Yes. If you're not speaking, if you don't mind just turning off until you can speak. Okay. This one, autonomy, the quality or state of being autonomous, and the quality or state of being independent, free, and self-directing.
Exactly. And do you mind reading the definition of negative liberty, especially that first like 2-3 sentences, please?
Okay, now this is just the AI review. I don't know if that helps, but it says negative liberty.
It should be good enough.
Okay, it says negative liberty is the freedom from external interference, coercion, or restraint, focusing on the absence of obstacles like government limits, preventing you from acting, contrasting with positive liberty, which is the freedom to achieve your goals, self-mastery, popularized by Isaiah Berlin. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I asked you to read those for a reason.
Okay.
What Black women in specific, and what the masses of just about every woman under the bottom 80%, under the top 20%, what they're experiencing is the cost of their autonomy.
The
That is what
cost,
they're experiencing.
the
The
negative.
cost of their autonomy. Thank you. So what wasn't said, and you actually played a video. There was a clip from the video you played earlier where the lady said they didn't tell us, right? Or something like that, right? Like nobody told us. So what's happening are, I would argue, the intellectual feminist, because your everyday woman, she just want her freedom. You know, girls just want to have fun type thing, right? And she know it might cost her, but she don't really appreciate what. Your intellectuals, your technocrats, your social designers, men and women, they know what this is going to cost women, but they're perfectly okay with this pseudo class warfare, using these women as the buffer class. They don't fear your everyday woman. They fear men, but they use women as the buffer class, as the patsies in their class warfare. And so these women end up waking up at 45, 42, 53 years old, and they're Claudia Jordan, who admits to you, "Ooh, I might have overlooked some of the good guys. Oops." Right? Right? "I thought I had more time. Yikes." Right? That's the cost of your autonomy. It may not cost you financially, but if you're a working class woman, it is going to cost you financially also. But it will cost. Maybe the cost of your autonomy is not having a man. Maybe the cost of your autonomy is not having children. Maybe the cost of your autonomy is not having children in wedlock. Maybe the cost of your autonomy is not having financial security, or a backing, or your own nuclear family. Right? Maybe that's the cost of your autonomy. I promise you the technocrats know that, but does the average woman, particularly Black women, appreciate that? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I'm sorry, Shay, go ahead.
You know what else I've kind of thought about? Because this is something I've noticed, right? And again, probably going back to the Bay Area being an incredibly diverse place. So it's not uncommon to run into Black feminists, white feminists, feminists of all different backgrounds. But what I've noticed for white feminists and even Asian feminists, right? Those who maybe they are late 40s, close to 50s, no kids, no man in sight. Maybe they want it if it happens, but kind of like the normal thing, like just kind of waiting for the right fit. What I've noticed about those women is that economically, let's say they weren't to get married to have a family, they have family resources to fall back on. They have a house or two or something that their parents are going to be able to give them, so they're going to be okay. They have an inheritance coming from them. The issue is, we know, like the Black community collectively, it just doesn't, as far as wealth, it does not compare to these other communities. So you have women, like you were saying, who Black women taking the exact same trajectory, but they don't have generational wealth waiting for them from their parents or their grandparents. They don't have a mom or dad who can give them a house or two that is paid off, that they can keep as their own or sell, and reinvest. Like, they don't actually have the financial backing.
Shay, what you're describing then
Well,
is,
what I noticed,
you're describing this real quick, Game Changer, because this is important to say. What Shay is saying is that this is a luxury belief that Black women can't afford.
Yes.
In simple terms, this is a luxury belief that sounds good, and it sounds liberating, and it sounds freeing, and it sounds empowering to give men of your same race, in your same class, or your same educational background the middle finger, right? It sounds good, but this is a belief, a luxury belief, and we need to emphasize that you can't actually afford. And I'll pause right there.
Well, I want to say what I notice about feminists who, non-Black female feminists, is that they are exceptionally unattractive compared to the non-feminist women of the world. Meaning that when a woman is, patriarchy is unjust, it's uneven, it's not a communist system. Meaning that it benefits some women a lot more than others, a lot more. The feminists who are not Black, who want to, who find patriarchy to be hostile towards them, are typically not very good looking, and therefore they have to rely on other attributes to move ahead in the world. That's what I've noticed.
Okay.
I mean, I know you as a woman can't really, are less capable of judging if they are less attractive. But what do you call her? The woman, the colorist,
Colorism catfish? The crispy catfish?
Oh yeah, I think it was like colorism catfish or something like that. So but yeah, she's not very hot. She definitely is not winning prom queen, at least not where we're from. So she comes up with ideas, and that is she knows that she's not capable of seducing through traditional means, so she does it through untraditional means, and that is destroying a man's ego, elimination of competition, basically trying to convince more attractive women not to compete for the men that she is seeking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, that doesn't work well with the white community at all, because you also understand, the catfish. One of the other challenges I had with her is that, she's, she's ultimately talking to fat Black women. We've identified that. She's talking to fat Black women who are largely, probably working class, aspiring for middle class, which there's nothing wrong with that, but trying to teach them how to level up to get a white man. And I'm like, if you're a fat Black woman, like a high value white man is not looking your way. Like, generally speaking, the Gabby Sidibe's of the world are incredibly rare. Shout out to her. I'm not mad at her, but I'm just saying, it's like, the issue that I have with that strategy is that it just actually doesn't work. Like, it's just not a proven, because like fat white women get hatred in their own community. They get like completely roasted.
And that's why those become feminists, because that's patriarchy being hostile towards them.
Very exactly. Yeah. And so, but the crazy thing about it is those same white feminists will end up marrying sometimes, or being with a Black man, or date Hispanic men and be cool. I've noticed that too. I've noticed like white people who are antagonistic to white culture or white people. They may be a little more plus size, and I also find that they tend to find more acceptance from other cultures of men.
Well, we've been taught to accept anything. I mean, and we've talked about the whole fat woman thing, when we had the discussion before. We as Black men have been taught to eat prison food and, desire it, basically. Desire it as gourmet. So other races of women, of course, are going to see this as an opportunity. Black American men is the greatest deal for overweight white women since the Hostess going out of business sale. This is their thing. They don't want to deal with the Al Bundy types of the world, who's hostile towards them, and they really don't want to deal with the game changer types of the world. So yes, they do see a lot of conditioned Black men as low-hanging fruit. It's unfortunate that we've lowered ourselves to such, standards, or allowed ourselves to be our self-appraisal to be so low, but that's the result. And the cold part is, in the instance that Shay Sade is talking about, Black women, and we're talking about the fat ones, aren't the beneficiaries of it. They're still losing to, Fat Becky.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. And then I'm going to allow, I think all for one Black man was the next one. That's been my main pushback. It's just like, listen, if you're comfortable being a fat Black woman, that's completely fine. But then don't isolate yourself from the men who are going to be the most likely to really love and cherish you. Like, I know Black men with plus size fat Black women, and they love their wives, and they you would think that she's a supermodel, and they really love her. And so I'm like, if you're comfortable with that, that's fine. But like, why are you now like browbeating the men who are the most likely to actually like want to give you a good life? That's what to me is the most detrimental. So
yeah, they want to be Margot Robbie. They want the European beauty standards.
Yeah, but they're not willing to, put on the starve. These women some of these women got eating disorders. They're not willing to do the things that are necessary to get to that size. Right? Okay, so all for one Black man, I want to make sure you have a chance to weigh in.
Yeah, first a salute to everybody. I love all your content. And definitely I'm coming from the other perspective, being on the East Coast. I'm in the DC area. So it's like the land of the six-figure salary. I mean, you can get a security guard, and if he's guarding a government building and has a clearance, that's like that add tax on whatever salary, add on another 25 to 30%. So me being in tech, it's like, yeah, you're well off. And then when I was on the dating apps, oh yeah, there were constant women that could change their location to DC area. And one woman told me straight up, oh, I know y'all are making six figures out there. That's why I'm looking at y'all at. So it's definitely going back to one of your earlier points, this humbling, because they know that Black women outnumber us apparently out here. But I've constantly said, just like there have been little videos talking about the dating scene out here, I constantly speak up about, look, it's not the quantity, it's the quality. this is constant assumption that just black women are all perfect and nothing's wrong and it's all the men. And I'm like, nah, it's it. And kind of piggybacking off your early point, no, people are getting hip to the game, even the Beckys. And I think I told you this on a live, I think a couple of months ago, where I was talking with a coworker, Becky, who date mainly black men, but they apply the same standards that a lot of their family would tell them, oh, this is what you look for in a white man or Asian man, like like uh, like Game Changer and Z were saying, and they're seeing, wait a minute, here are these plethora of black men who are doing really well, and they'd be out with their black girlfriends and seeing them dismiss all these men. And one girl was like, wait a minute, you just dismissed a bunch of guys who in my calculations would be quality. So I think the biggest thing that white women are pulling off is not just the election and how they voted, but they're scooping up a lot of quality men, and not just white women, but all non-black women.
I've argued, to piggyback off of your point, that, and I don't know if it's just like a cultural thing. I don't know, but I feel like other cultures of women, I don't know. I just feel like they have a better sense of knowing how to gauge when a man is a good man, honestly.
Yeah.
Like they just have a better sense of it. And I don't know, but it has to do with like them coming from families or coming from, generally speaking, of course, we know there are broken, single parent issues in the white community too, but just tends to be more families intact, percentage wise. So I don't know if it's that, but I do think that white folks, Asians, women generally have a sense of being able to kind of sense, like it's just more.
Black women have an additional criteria before they consider a man to be good. They don't just need a man to be a good man. They need him to be a good man that doesn't know he's a good man. Meaning that he has to be a good man with a diminished ego, for the reasons that we discussed.
Protect, provide, and shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in other words, submissive provider.
Well, he has to be a good man at a discount, basically, Shay Sade. So they'll see a good man, and then they'll just write him off as, he's going to be with an Asian or white girl, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because she overlooked him deliberately.
Yeah.
Or in addition, that somebody they can flex to the sisterhood. Look how I got this man wrapped around my finger. I can do whatever I want. So, yeah, and also to your point of the original video, which you were talking about, the I love you black man. And I've posted this before, and I actually posted it in the chat, which is, I think one of the biggest issues is no pushback. I think last week you had the video about, the AI, my husband, whatever. Like, where was the massive pushback from black women? Like, where was just in mass going, and it's just silence on some of these videos. So it's like, okay, you come out with this I love you, but there's like 10 new I hate you black men videos and literal no pushback. If not more bots agreeing with it. So that's kind of my point.
Has anyone seen the Shay? And I don't know if you've seen this. Although we know she got caught up in her own scandal and she be placating, but has anyone seen the interview with Sadia Khan and Nick Cannon?
I haven't.
It's kind of making its rounds right now, and there's a clip of it. It's recent. There's a clip of it where she's pretty much saying, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, the globe over, black men are sought after. And unlike other non-black men, and this is going to what Game Changer was saying a bit in his own way, his comical way, but no, the reason why Asian men aren't exercising their options outside of the race is because they're not sought after particularly. Same thing with South Asian men. And she said, I'm a South Asian woman, and I'm telling you, black men are the ones. Now, I would caveat that, and if we don't get into our ego bag, I think it's black men and white men globally. But unlike white men, it's not necessarily for the status of the skin. It's for everything else, which in a weird way makes us the more humane choice. It is for the looks. It is for the swag. It is for the personality. It is for all of these kind of intangible things, right? And then also for the height, for the top. I'm sorry.
Z, I can confirm it. I literally just got back yesterday from the Philippines, and that was probably And, I talk with a girl I'm dating right now in the Philippines, and she basically explained it as such like white men have kind of ruled that passport industry, but once they started seeing they had additional options other than white men, they were like, holy crap, here are these cool, loving men that are available, and they tick all these boxes. So, yes, whether you know it or not, we are very much sought after overseas.
All, all for
Yeah.
all for one, real quick, because there's a video, and I never actually covered it on my channel, but it's saved somewhere on my phone. Somebody's background, but it's saved somewhere on my phone. Of a few Asian women in a it looks like an apartment or a condo or whatnot, and they're actually saying exactly what you're saying. They're literally saying white men are arrogant, and like I don't know why they think they run things. And these are eight like Filipino women or maybe Thai women. It's somewhere Southeast Asia, right? And they're just openly saying that and saying we prefer black men, and so and it looks like they're not being goaded or prodded to say that. This is coming from the heart. So, and I
Correct.
say all of that shit.
No, wait,
Go ahead.
fellas, that's not a compliment. That's not a compliment. Okay, when a woman says she's attracted to your racist humility, don't go for that. You need to tell her I'm arrogant too, and I got reason. What do you mean? The white men are arrogant. They think they run everything. They do. It's called the world. They have every right to be arrogant, and so do you. How dare her? How dare her speak to you?
I hear what you're saying, game changer, but there is something to be said about why you're being chosen.
Now, let
and
me
quite frankly, my goal is not, and I'm sorry, Shay, I know this is your channel.
Okay.
My goal is not to replace white men. I know some brothers want to do that, but that's not my goal. So I just want to make sure I put that on the table.
Get black
All right.
men to understand that they have every right to be arrogant. Okay.
I don't have a problem with
it. If you are a black man and you're lean and fit with a high IQ in a big old thing, then that's what you do. You have every right to be arrogant. How dare they? How dare they?
Now let
her
me
last boyfriend was a rice farmer. Like, how dare her say that? Oh, you're so humble. I'm not humble. I'm conceited. I have every right to be.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now let me add this. Let me add this. I want to make sure. I want to give a chance for Lion to speak, and then also I think it's one clear. But real quick, let me add this too. I actually did a video. I did a video reaction. I don't know if it was like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I have to see if I can find it. But it was about this exact topic. And it was this idea of like whether or not black men are the most masculine. And I was reacting to someone, I don't know if I think he was a scholar, and he was like basically breaking down scientifically and also looked at, I think, different general studies on overall perception of black masculinity. And it kind of confirms what you guys said, that because, white men, globally speaking, right, obviously because of white hegemony, obviously, white men are seen as masculine because of the proximity to power and status, but black men, as far as their physicality, all cultures by and large viewed black men as being the most masculine. And then he looked at scientific reports and talked about how, I think it's like fast twitch muscles, like there's actual things that make black men generally stronger, obviously more well endowed. So again, this kind of confirms this global belief and understanding that like black men, they have the most physical prowess. And so if you have a black man who is already believed collectively of all different cultures to be physically stronger, more well endowed, if you have a black man who has that physical advantage, and then you add he's smart, and then you add he's established or whatever, that makes him that much more desirable to other races, but also that much more of a threat to white hegemony, who will see black men as a direct competition. So it's really interesting.
But Game Changer has something to think of it. This is the thing, Game Changer. I would argue we offer the most real and sustained foil to the entire white colonial project. So much of the reason, think of all the people that think of us as Muhammad Ali or Jim Brown or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? So that when they think of black men, that's who they think of. So they think of us as the foil to this, an alternative to that form of masculinity, right? And that's what I would propose. Go ahead.
What I'm saying
okay,
is,
I gotta let Lion hop in. He's been waiting.
Go for it.
Like I get what you're saying, Z, and it's right, but there is two sides of this. It is a gift and a curse, because the same reason why we could be desired is also the same reason, like, also ties into us being the most quote unquote like encouraging of the egalitarian thing. We're also the most accepting of the egalitarian thing, and you see the exit polls with Kamala Harris clearly show that. That's also a part of it. So yes, it's a gift and a curse because GC's point, we're also are the most accepting when it comes to weight and this and that. And I equate that to my own experience because every time I turn around, like at least once a week, there's a plus size chick trying to get at me, even though clearly in my pictures, I'm in pretty good shape. But it's because of that stigma, because that we're so accepting, I got to deal with that every week. But to GC's point, yes, I'm arrogant too. Yes, I am. But but at the same time, given our history, I'm not supposed to make it. I'm supposed to be dead or in jail, given our history. So the only response to all this is, as far as black women is concerned, is indifference. Like, y'all talk too much, y'all said too much, and it's too much damage done. And I want to believe those women are genuine when the "I love you, black men" videos, but until you actually go in and actually start checking other black women who are not so against this doesn't mean anything. To your point, Chef Sade, if this doesn't start translating on the street in actual real life, what good is it?
I understand. I know. I can understand that. That's actually been my main I guess critique of these videos. First of all, I think it's almost as if women have the bad tendency sometimes of assuming that men think the way that they do, like as if men are just like a more deviant aspect of female nature. And so sometimes they'll like do things that they may like, or they'll do things that they may find cute or appealing, but don't actually understand male psychology.
No.
So that's what I said. I was like,
the words are nice. Words are nice. I appreciate it. I mean, whether I understand the man question the genuine, I can question the genuineness too, but the only thing I can say is thank you. I'll say thank you and keep it moving. But if it's not translated into some form of action out here on the street, which clearly it's not, then all you get from me is indifference. I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I'm not on the misogyny tip, but the only response is indifference. And that's what those comments are showing that you were reading, Shay, is really indifference. It's like, okay, we don't believe you though.
I mean, it works the same way with women, because Shay Sade was talking about how, men, they're under the impression that men think like they do, but it doesn't even work on them. If you tell a beautiful woman that she's beautiful, that doesn't really get you much. It definitely doesn't get you the desired results. Like, so, how about we get together later on? It never works like that, especially with a beautiful woman. So, you're telling them something that they already know, hoping that, that we didn't already know that we are what they say that they are. So that's why the words are really falling short.
Yeah, the words will continue to fall short until you start seeing some action. Honestly, the only action I'm accepting is y'all checking other black women at this point. You talking to us means nothing. Talk to other black women. Y'all
That's
gonna
the
have
easy
to go
part.
Y'all gonna have to take yeah, talking to black men is the easy part. Y'all gonna have to go ahead and take a sword to the Chris's and the other women that Z be talking about. Y'all gonna have to get your swords and go to war with them. Then maybe we'll start believing you.
Yeah, see, and that's the part that, as I mentioned earlier on in this live, it's hard because even black women who don't agree with all of the foolishness have to deal with being ostracized.
The sisterhood.
Yeah, and there's just some I think they just may not have the courage to do that at the moment. And I'm not mad at them, because I'm like, the reality is, to do that means you're going to face a ton of backlash. You will be ostracized. You will be blackballed. You will be all those things from the sisterhood, and
it's not worth it. It's not worth it if you're being disingenuous about why you're doing this in the first place. If what's actually informing you and fueling you is the fact that you're struggling financially, right? Or you see how precarious the environment is, you're a little scared, you're a little frightened, you may not want to risk the quote unquote support of the sisterhood and combat the sisterhood and their misandry. And that's the dilemma, I would argue, that a lot of these ladies are facing. As the lady said on your own video, she essentially, and that's why I said pampered, right? she wants to be subsidized. She wants her autonomy to be subsidized. And that's essentially what the feminist project is for the ones of them that decide to be married and they are heterosexual. It is using men as a luxury item to only support their autonomy from those same men, which is fascinating, right? So and it sounds good, but once again, working class women just don't have the luxury, and that's why you see them out here struggling. And those, I would argue, would be the ones that are more likely to say these things. But the Kim Fosters of the world, they're going to stick to their guns, man or not, right? Because they at least earn enough to support themselves. That's never going to be the case for the masses of women.
Yeah, they're okay. But okay, I want to make sure that I give a chance for I think it's One Clear. I hope I did not butcher your name.
Still here.
Yes.
Hello, guys.
Hey there. Thanks for being patient.
First of all, I want to say thank you for letting me come on. I love your show. Even though I think it is more for women, I still find enjoyment from it. Also, Mr. Z and Game Changer, thank you for your points. There's great points made all around. As for the topic, I do think I might get some flack for this, but I do think most black men are still asleep. There's just still, they haven't spilled the gasoline yet, as I like to say. Or like the smouldering cinders. And I'm not saying that to be like gloating, because it's not gloating, because I'm still in the black community as well as a black man. I get it, but this shit's dead. But as for like as for like the affirmations video, I made 2 comments on there. I opened it a lot. Those were funny, by the way. I was cackling all fucking last night because of that shit. I'm not kidding. Thank you. But as for those affirmations video, you guys made the great points. Like, doesn't mean shit. It's not going to change anything. It doesn't elicit policy. It doesn't elicit cultural narrative control. It's cute. It's great. And for those who find enjoyment from it, by all means, I'm glad you do, because it is nice to hear something like that. I'm sure it is, but it's not a bill or a law. And there are many black. Well, I want to say many, but like there's a few, including yourself, that do this anyway. But I would like, instead of those videos, I would like to see more like, what's the fucking word? I would like to see more topics about like actual issues that men face, or bring awareness to certain bill or laws that could help us. Like, for example, like bringing more awareness to things like that Tennessee.
Check out Dr. T. Hassan Johnston's 19-point plan.
Yes, I would like to see more of that. Instead of just like, I love you, black man. You're the sea, the earth, the king. That doesn't mean shit to me. Or even you guys. Like, and like you said, they frame the way their emotions or their logic on where they think. So, that it feels good to them. So it must feel good for us. Right. But that's always not the case. So that's where I wanted to come in with that's all I have to say about that.
That makes sense. Yeah,
we'll start small, or just start small. To GC's point, we'll see if there's a massive movement for black women going to the gym.
I'll take that, man. That's
we'll start small. We won't even. We will keep this as less complicated as possible. More black women going to the gym, maybe. That'll raise an eyebrow, maybe.
Many black women, they actually want to be fat, even the ones who are naturally. Well, no, and it's not a matter of just a matter of eating disorder or lifestyle and stuff. They would actually prefer to be fat than slim, and the reason for that is because they know when you approach them as a fat woman that you have no standards whatsoever, that they got you. Now, if you are a fit, in shape woman, then you're approaching her because she's fit and in shape, and she could lose you.
I can't hear GC.
Oh shit! Did Keisha get him? Man, Keisha, FBI Keisha.
No, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear him.
Okay. But no. What I was saying is, she being fat for a black woman is a way to gauge if he has an ego or not. Men with egos don't go around asking fat bras for their number. So knowing this, she feels more comfortable.
Can you hear me?
I can hear both you and Game. Yeah, I can hear you, Game Changer, and I can hear Lion. Lion, it might be you.
Yeah, Lion, you
Might
can't hear
be
me, but
because I
everybody
can
else
hear
can.
y'all, but I can't hear him.
Sorry. But no, she's using that basically as a method to gauge how desperate
I'll
he
exit
is.
and come back.
And then once she realizes how desperate she is, she feels more secure in the relationship. Because a woman who is in shape, let's just say someone like Kerry Washington or something like that, they live under the threat that, okay, this man likes slim and fit women, and
All right,
now they are.
well, I hope I'm not malfunctioning either, but that's all I really have to say. Like, I'm not smart like Z. Like, and you can deconstruct all this shit like in a 2-bar sentence. I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get off. Thank you, guys.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So
I know, Game Changer, we have to do. I haven't forgot. I just holidays kind of got crazy, and then I've had a few things. I'm just trying to get back, but I know we have I'm talking about doing an interview on fatness in the Black community. We're gonna come from different sides. Maybe because I come from a family that with a lot of well-endowed individuals, so I think I'm naturally more empathetic. But I think that's going to be a much needed conversation.
and I think Game Changer, something to consider also is it goes along with that autonomy. I don't have any discipline to watch my diet. I barely have any discipline to be to church or at work on time. It's complete disrespect to everything. That's why they pop up to your events late. That's why they eat whatever they want to eat, however they want to eat, right? Like that. That's why they talk to you crazy. The only thing they barely got respect for is that white boss, and that's still barely. That's the only thing, bro. It goes along with the autonomy and the negative liberty, no constraints on their behavior, their diet, nothing.
True.
Right? And so I agree, but I'm agreeing with you, by the way, Game Changer. I'm just saying that's another element to it. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that definitely is. I mean, and what you're describing is one, it's an expression of freedom, but two, they're looking for advantages. They're looking for life advantages that white women don't have in greater abundance. And that is, okay, white women are bound by, society's rules, but we are not necessarily bound by society rules. Therefore, that's their way of looking for Black privilege. Where white women have white privilege, they're looking for Black privilege. And that is, I get to fart at the dinner table and they don't. But really, it's just them making themselves less appealing because those rules exist for a reason. Just because you're not following those rules, that doesn't mean that you're not reaping the consequences of it. And the deficit of desirability is definitely part of the consequences of, living without rules and structure.
I would add to that, Game Changer, negative liberty, not negative. You start wrong word. I'm so used to saying it. Intersectionality is their way of flipping the power dynamic upside down, right? When you weaponize it good enough, what it does is, and that's why you see a lot of these folks, they start their statements off. Well, I'm a dark skin, peg leg, neurodivergent, LGBTQ, stigmatism, Black woman from the South, right? From a divorced family, or my dad was in jail, and they're doing all of that as qualifiers. So when people see that, people hear intersectionality, and I've said this before, people hear intersectionality, and you think of intersecting roadways, right? No, it's a layered cake. And when I describe all of these things, I'm now standing 8 feet tall, and now in what I describe is what should take the precedent in this conversation. Not the heterosexual white man because he has no oppression. Not the heterosexual Black man because he wants to be the heterosexual white man. So because of that, he gets not to talk. Right. But if I continue to layer this on with all of these quote unquote intersecting oppressions, then my word is the more moral word. And then that's when you get into the whole conversation of modernity versus postmodern thinking and language, and who gets the right to talk, and how we push back on the notions of might makes right. Yeah. That's how they've weaponized that. And that's how they've used intersectionality to benign neglect the plights of Black men and boys. Now that has come back and bite them in the rear end over the past year or so, with Black women losing their jobs, and Black women now realizing, and other women realizing, how how much the society was propping up and subsidizing their supposed autonomy. And that's not just a woman thing, by the way. That is primarily a woman thing and specifically a Black woman thing, but not just that. And I'll pause right there.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before, which was fascinating about this last year. And I think how apparent it was that feminism was never really a natural outgrowth of the Black experience as much as it was something that was governmentally funded by white dollars, right? Because like when it's removed, we see in the ways in which many Black women falter. And I don't take pride in it. I'm not laughing at this. I actually think it's really sad, And I'm like, man,
It's a reality check. I don't know if you're a sibling, Shay. Are you? And I'm not. I don't know if you're a sibling. I don't want to get too much in your business.
Oh yes, I'm the youngest of three.
Okay.
Sisters. So I have two other sisters.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of two girls, right? And one thing that was real interesting is when my niece was 3 or 4 and she wouldn't listen, and I'll be like, "Hey, don't do that! Don't do that before your mom see you! Don't do that!" And like, right? And then my sister would see her and give a little, the little pow pow on the wrist, and she starts crying. And so you feel sad in that moment, but you appreciate that this discipline and correction is important to correct behavior.
Fair.
Even though you try to warn, but clearly the child didn't hear the warning. Now, I'm not saying Black women or children. What I am saying is that there has been, at least on social media, over a decade-long warning from Black men that you're getting too comfortable with this status quoism. And you must have forgot who the hell white folks are and who white men are in specific. You must have forgot. And we were told to shut up. We were called all type of misogynists. We were dooming Black women or damning them, or we were hoping for the worst so that they could get their mind right and bow to us and all this weirdo stuff. And it was just a warning. And now, as Kevin Samuels has said, rest in peace, winter is here. Not winter is coming, winter is here. And now those same folks, and some of them are me and your age, those same folks are now out here in the wilderness. Those same women are out here in the wilderness. And it's a bad look. And it is kind of sad. I agree with you. But I would argue it's going to correct for certain behavior with certain women. I'll pause right there. I'm sorry.
I understand. I want to, real quick, I also want to make sure I acknowledge some new super chats. This one that came through a while back, it says, let me know when Black women under 32 start saying, Black men, what's the plan? Black men, I want to follow you. I'm proud to submit to my Black husband. I look to Black men and not other women for guidance. Shout out to you with the 10. Unity is strength. 1. This one right here, it says, men don't realize this, but dating apps are like corn for women. She can always swipe until she finds a guy that doesn't care, so she doesn't have to work on herself. Dating apps fry brains like corn. Interesting. I haven't been in dating apps for forever, being married, but yeah, that's I do think there's something to that. And going back to this comment here about, let's actually see basically ladies put in action what they're saying with their words. I think that's the most essential at this point. And I do understand what you're saying, Mr. Z, about ultimately, while you don't wish for wrong and you don't wish for bad, at the same time you recognize the need for self-correction. And that's kind of what I echoed earlier in the live, where I was like, I am hearing some men say that it's not that they don't necessarily want to build or create something, it's that they're not willing to crash and burn completely and totally. And then, from there, work with the women or those who are willing to actually build something cohesive. I mean, these are things that I've heard. So
I don't know if that's 100% possible, because this is the thing, like a complete total societal crash and burn. You go into not Armageddon, but you're going to Mad Max type territory if we go that far, right? But there is going to be, this is 60 seconds, maybe 120 seconds, sorry. We were living through loose money. This is something I know Game Changer knows. Maybe Shay, you watch the same things I do. We were going through an era of loose money. And what that has allowed is for loose money to go everywhere, right? Think of a fire hydrant just spilling water everywhere, right? And so everybody was getting hit. And so when the money is loose and free like that, you could afford to spend money on frivolous things, frivolous degrees, frivolous programs, boost this person who's incapable or who's capable but has the lack of discipline, or all of that. You could do that with the loose money. But what happened when the money tightened up? When the money tightened up, it hit everyone, particularly the ones who were enjoying the loose money. Earlier, was it early last year? Game Changer, when China raised the interest rates, and then Evergrande, one of their housing developers, fell apart, imploded, because why? They raised the interest rate. And so think of all of us being, different heights. And when I start to raise that water level in the pool, all of us that were okay at 4'3", we start to drown, right? And the people that are 5'2", the water's up to your nose. And the people that are 6'4", the water's up to your chest. That's what's going on now with the tightening of money. And that's going to hit a lot of women who were maybe doing things, BS jobs, as the author that wrote that book said. And that's where we are. So it's not necessarily, some of this, I would argue, from certain folks like the Stephen Millers of the world, might be about disciplining women. But I would argue, no, the U.S. is no longer in a unipolar world. And so it doesn't have the ability or the money or the space, because of competition, to just be throwing money around. And that's going to affect those of us who had these easier jobs, or jobs that may not necessarily be needed in the infrastructure and maintaining the infrastructure of this society. Maybe your job is a plus. It's like the fries of life, not the burger, right? And I'll pause right there. Yeah, the ketchup. Oh, goddamn, Shay, that's even worse. I was trying to be nice.
Goddamn.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's why, like what I mentioned before about this. I mean, Mr. Z, you've seen this by now, being online as you have, or as long as you have. You've seen this thing kind of this talking point repeat itself every few years about Black men not being in college and not leveling up to Black women and falling behind. And, this thing, I think that video that went viral was like maybe a year or so ago, where it was just the same talking point. And it was all these reasons that Black men are not leveling up.
It was about mid last year, May-ish of last year, something like that, June or something.
I remember Kimberly Nicole Foster did a whole live on it, and I remember I did like a kind of like a compilation between her and Dr. Tiason Johnson and their different perspectives. And it's fascinating because how long have they been saying, Black men are not leveling up financially and they're not doing what they need to do to advance themselves or whatever. And fast forward months, and here we are, Black women with degrees who are completely not only out of work, but in some ways out of industries. And meanwhile, the trades are still largely unaffected. It's not to say that they won't be completely, unaffected, but I think by and large, they're a lot safer now than some of these, white collar jobs where you're getting a psychology degree and you're getting hired to, think about the best taglines, right? Now AI can do that. You know what I mean? Versus you are a plumber and they need you to make sure that, sewage doesn't break everywhere, and that when you flush the toilet, it works. You know what I mean? It's completely different skill set.
And it's important to say that, Jay. Look, we need the soft sciences. We just don't need to over-index on them. You see what I'm saying? Having people interpret history, having people interpret the technology, having people describe the history of things, and having people, the philosophers, the all of these, those people are needed. Even the psychologists and the therapists, we need them. We just don't need it over-indexed, and we definitely don't need it over-indexed by a particular sex that's hiding all of their misbehavior behind this discipline, or hiding out because they don't want to get into the difficult, hard science stuff, the STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So they're hiding behind the soft sciences. We don't need you to over-index on that. And that's what a lot of women, particularly Black women, have done over the past couple of decades. And I'll pause right there.
Right. So I am going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. If you had anything else you wanted. Also, I wanted to give a chance to Dr. Thunder to call. I know he's been a member for a long time. So if Dr. Thunder, if you had anything that you wanted to share, you can feel free to call it. No pressure. This will just be for Dr. Thunder because I do need to wrap this up. He's been a long time member, so I want to make sure I give members a chance to share. And if not, we can just kind of wrap this up. I'm going to try to get a walk in before it gets dark. So.
Okay, so
I
wanted to
go ahead, Game Changer. Go ahead.
And I want to see if the fellas agree with this, and Shay Sade as well. do you think that the women in the reel would come off as more sincere if they did or said something that indicated that they renounced the sisterhood completely? I think that's what each of them were lacking. And I think that that's what Black men, at least the ones who frequent Shay Sade, myself, and others, are looking for. It sounds very insincere when you still have a bridge back to the sisterhood.
That's an interesting question. I'll let you guys weigh in on that.
I think yes. If they did things, not necessarily said things, but did things, yeah, said things also that shown that. But to be fair, I think that's a difficult ask because this is not our parents or our grandparents, right? These are not our mothers and are definitely not our grandmothers. For a lot of women, all they know is the sisterhood. That's all they know.
No, that is.
All they know is to be antagonistic to men, particularly Black men. All they know is to be mean-spirited to men, be curt and short and rude and smug and sassy with Black men in particular. That's all they know. So that's a difficult act, but I agree with you that would at least indicate a willingness to change and do something different, quite frankly, for the betterment of these women themselves. Before you even talk about Black men, for them themselves, for their own survival. And I'll pause right there.
To add to that, I mentioned this earlier in the live, right? How the reality is, Black women, I think, who desire to be in a relationship, a marriage, build a family with other Black men, Black American women specifically, are going to have to be an acceptance that there's going to be somebody, if not most people in their immediate circle, whether it be family, friends, cousins, acquaintances, who are going to be antagonistic to their goals. And I'm saying this from personal experience, and unfortunately from the personal experience of other married Black women I know. Outside of rare exceptions, most Black women grew up in families that were antagonistic to marriage or family in some regard because of the culture. That's just the culture we exist in. So to do that, like Mr. T Back in Effect said, like, you have to be an acceptance that you're going against the grain. There's somebody or something, some spaces that you are going to inherently become antagonistic with if you were to learn how to work together simultaneously and cohesively with a man, because of the kind of culture we exist in. And that's just the reality of it. You don't live in a marriage culture, a family nurturing culture.
I agree with that, but I encourage and I implore Black men to tell them that I don't care. And to put it succinctly, F your damage, where's my sandwich? I understand. No, I understand this, and this, but at the end of the day, like, where's my sandwich? Like, oh, well, the sisterhood and my family. Look, where is my sandwich? I don't care about all. No, just listen. I understand that you have obstacles that prevents you from giving me what I want, but give it to me anyway, or else you are ill-capable of overcoming the necessary obstacle. Just like there's obstacles that would keep you out of UC Berkeley, Shay Sade, but you overcame those obstacles. I mean, I went to Berkeley. I know, that's what I said. You overcame those obstacles.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying.
They didn't say, hey, I know you're struggling with it. They didn't care. They like, listen, you got to worry about that. Yeah,
you
exactly.
Just get in if you get in.
Exactly. And I know this because I didn't go to Berkeley. So I know they don't care.
Okay.
So, I mean, if Game Changer's going to use his quote, and let me say mine to finish what Game Changer was saying, and I'm sorry for the background. Hey, if she not making the sandwich, then leave her out here in the elements.
All for one, please mute.
Yeah. Huh?
No, somebody is buzzing bad. Okay, no, I was asking all for one to please mute, but you got it, Black in Effect.
Yeah, no, I was saying to finish off what to finish off what Game Changer was saying. If you don't get that sandwich, if she's not bringing you the sandwich, if she's not on your program, then leave her out here in the elements. And the elements means to be out here and be the sexual plaything for non-black men, maybe engage in same-sex relationships with probably other black women, be out here with the rose toy and other devices, we'll say, be out here single, be out here being the target practice for young men, be out here with Nate, right? I'm gonna buy Nate. So if she's not on your program, to all the young black men, you have to leave her out here in the elements. She will destroy. If she feels coerced to be with you, she will destroy your life, bro. It's that simple. If she's not enthusiastically with you, you got to leave her out here in the elements. It's that simple.
A
Right?
woman should never be with a man that she can't respect. That the long term of that is there is no long term. If there is a long term, it's going to end volatilely or something, or somebody's going to have to change dramatically. But it is not a good idea for a woman to get with a man that she just does not have respect for. I would never recommend that. So, and I think that's essentially, Mrs. Z, what you're saying. It's just like, don't get with the
yes,
woman.
but I wanted to be vulgar about it.
Huh?
Yes, Shay, but I wanted to put a little spice to it. But I agree with you. I agree with you. Yes, you're 100% right. I just want a little spice, a little pepper to
Yeah,
it.
you wanted to try to match Game Changers in energy. Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick to answer Game Changer's point. That was only reason why I had the mic on, was that, look, I think it can work if we hear some pushback, but they got to come hard. They can't pussyfoot around it. They've got to come
Renounce the
hard.
sisterhood.
Exactly. Like recently I saw a video, and I think we're on to part 3 of black women saying, I'm not letting my young boy date any black women. And she's laying out hard why. And really just telling on a lot of the cliches of that she's running across with a lot of young black girls, or how they're being raised in their families and not being accountable. So yeah, they need to really come hard, and it's going to sting, but I know it probably won't come. I'm sorry. I have little faith at this point.
I mean, just renouncing the sister. We don't care what the positive attributes you think about us. You have to renounce the sisterhood. You have to say, I am not with them. Just like if you want to join the FBI, you can't do that and be a Crip. You actually have to, renounce what you were before. You can't be both. That's the only way that works with black men. And I think that's what that video or that reel of videos was lacking. It really was. It's like, okay, you're this, and I love you. It's like, okay, do you renounce the sisterhood and all the evils of it? And I know, like Shay Sade said, that's a very lonely path, but it's a necessary one, unfortunately. Because sisterhood,
it is your hero's journey, black women. It is your hero's journey.
That is the cost, because to go against it is to a certain extent, you have to sometimes look at the very things that you were taught from, whether it be moms, grandmothers, auntie, things that you were taught in your family at times, things that was demonstrated to you at school, in your environment. It's like to a certain extent, your total sense of reality has to come under scrutiny in order for you to effectively do that. And some women just aren't willing or able to really reckon with that, because they actually really believe what they've been told about black men generally being on their high horse and needing to consistently be humbled. Like they actually believe that. So
we should be on our high horse. We definitely should be on our high horse. And it's not just because we're hung like one. It's because of who we are and understanding our worth on an individual level, which, translate to an overall level. You see, the problem, a lot of things, and this is part of the sisterhood, and it only applies to black men, is that where most women are attracted to confidence, because confidence, generally speaking, is what leads to success. While most women are attracted to confidence, black women are repelled by it. And, I find it, and only when it comes to their own men.
Interesting.
And I find that very, very fascinating, and once again, I think it's for fear of competition with white girls. And I'm sorry, competition is amongst you, whether you fear it or not. I've been in competition with other groups of men my entire life, being black and a nerd and into science and math and stuff. What, you think that I only had to compete in Math Olympics with other black kids? No, there were Asian kids. The Bay Area is full of them. So I mean, it's the competition is going to be there whether you like it or not, and whether you think it's fair or not. The same as black women with other groups. You're going to have to compete. You know, these strategies, though somewhat effective, are not going to, you know, be enough to get the plurality of black women what they want. It's
But
not.
let's speak about that game changer. The sisters wanted to humble black men and bring them down in size and put them in their place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the person that cost the most is black women. Like you never met somebody so masochistic in your life. In the effort to humble me, you're destroying you and your prospects and your likeliness of climbing into the middle class and your stability and your ability to have children, definitely children within wedlock. And what are you sacrificing? This is alchemy. What are you sacrificing to humble me, to put me in my place?
The possibility
Look,
of being rejected. They're
wait, say that
sacrificing.
again.
I'll tell you. They're sacrificing the possibility of being rejected in place of a white girl. That's what they're doing, and you got to understand from a
That's a
psychological.
high price. I agree with you, by the way.
Well, no, it's an extraordinarily high price, but I mean, for them, for whatever reason, it's a doomsday scenario. Like that, there is a doomsday scenario. That's why you see it echo throughout all of their hate pieces against black men. So, for example, that is how Waiting to Exhale began. It began with, hey, by the way, I'm leaving you for a white woman. Remember all those years you spent sacrificing to make me more successful? Now I'm giving it to Becky. That they're speaking, Terry McMillan, when writing that, she's speaking to a deep-seated fear that all black women have. Not all, but, you know, a large majority of black women have. You know,
Shout out to Mary J. Blige.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly.
But once again,
brother, I mean,
go.
So yes, if a life of diminished wealth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know, eliminates that possibility, then they are willing to take that hit. As absurd as it sounds, you know, from an emotional, from a psychological standpoint, a black man leaving a black woman for a non-black woman is confirmation bias of how they already feel about themselves. It plays into, it confirms their existing inferiority complex. It really does, which is, you know, and Shay Sade, she touches on this when she talked about the, you know, women in the Bay Area, how they are
game changer. I got to interject this. I'm sorry. I'm definitely gonna let you after this. But we're supposed to then marry a Tashina Arnold after she'd been with the white dude in secret, and when she's 43 years old. Think of that. So, and I've said this before, when black men date out and marry out, it's because black men ain't ish. When black women date out and marry out, is once again, it's because black men ain't ish. So black women are supposed to be able to go out there and experiment with the rainbow and then meet us and be with us at 43 years old. And you're supposed to take her like she a new car. The seats are still wrapped in the plastic. Wow. But the white dude didn't pogo stick up and down her esophagus though. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, so there isn't enough black men who are both humble and reasonably eligible. So, I mean, black women are going to have to either get with a man who's not humble, and you know, his merit, you know, mirrors his confidence. She's either going to have to get with that, which, you know, it runs the risk that he leaves you for Becky, you know, or find a guy who, a white guy. And understand this, white guys for black women, what it does is there's more security in that than with a certain type of black man. And that is, if a white guy was capable of leaving a black woman for a white woman, he would have already did that. He has first right to refuse white women. You know, if white women wanted him or he them, then they would already be together. So by their logic, you know, and this is by the Serena Williams logic and the Venus Williams logic, like, oh, okay, you know, he's not going to leave me for a white woman. If he could have got a white woman, he would have already had one. Or if he preferred white women, he would have already had one. So that Waiting to Exhale scenario doesn't really, seems less likely to them. It really does. it's unfortunate that most of these relationships come at an extraordinary deficit to them. For example, Dorothy Dandridge, who was the most beautiful Black woman of her time, was with a restaurant manager who was a white dude. Like, really? Like, yeah, I don't think that he'll leave, a rich and beautiful actress, for a waitress, but for an average white waitress, but like, look at what you paid. So they will pay an extraordinary cost in order to avoid that feeling of rejection in lieu of another race. It's sad and it's true, but once again, F your damage, where's my sandwich? That's it. That's a you thing. You got to get over that. I can't help you with that.
Can't change you. You are ridiculous. So anyways, this was a really interesting conversation. I do need to wrap this up. I mean, I'm trying to get a walking before the sun sets in about an hour. I mean, we're out in the Bay. So
yeah.
This was good. We'll have more of this. Really interesting perspectives. I got to go back and kind of review some of the stuff myself with some of the things that you guys were saying. And I mean, we're gonna see. I will say real quick, I had seen Dr. Thunder, and we kind of talked about this in a live that we did a little while back about our shared faith. And I will say, one of the things I think for myself that actually gives me the courage to actually, I guess, address the sisterhood, if you will, is my faith, because I have an alternative system and an alternative set of guidelines, rules, morals that are clearly articulated in, Christian faith that kind of give me a rubric to be like, okay, is this godly? Is this not godly? So I think, like what you were saying, a part of, when you're a Christ follower is you recognize things that are not constructive and you denounce them, even if they come from your own culture or your own family. So I say that because I do think in order for a woman to be able to effectively do that, I do think it is really important to have a strong faith foundation, because otherwise, what values is she holding on? What is she looking to? And most women, without having a strong faith tradition, are just going to look to other women around them to try to get validation, to try to get some sense of clarity. And that's why I talked about witchcraft. I think women being drawn to witchcraft because men are involved. There's no accountability. There's nobody scrutinizing you. And so you can kind of do what you want. But then that leaves you susceptible to a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, So, yeah, really, really interesting things. But anyways, Game Changer, this has been good. I have not forgotten about our live. I literally have like 3 or 4 interviews that I need to schedule, and you're like one of them. So I'll reach out to you once I've kind of gotten some other things.
Okay, I look forward to it. I want to meet your husband too. So yeah, I definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. I know he's been wanting to meet you as well. I think he listened to one of our conversations. He was like, I got to meet this man. I know it was when you were talking about, I don't remember what it was, but he was like, I just got to meet this dude. So I was like, we can make this happen. So yeah, so I'll reach out to you. Yeah.
All right, definitely look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Okay, you take care. All right. All right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Like I said, my first live of 2026. Appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate you members, the new members. I'm so glad that you guys have joined. I appreciate that. Also, I appreciate you guys who were sending some love and some super chats. If you haven't already, you can go back and catch the replay if you're just doing so. I actually I'd put up the Black Mode Political Agenda. They had mentioned that if you have not had a chance to check that out, please be sure to do so. He breaks it down here. Now 19 points. I actually interviewed Dr. Tiason Johnson on this interview. I want to say at the time it was 17 points when I interviewed him. So since then they have made some new additions, but really interesting. I definitely would encourage all of you guys to check it out if you have not had a chance to do so. Also, a shameless plug, if you have also not grabbed your copy of It's Not Jermaine's Fault, be sure to do so. I also have merch available. Don't blame Jermaine. It's not Jermaine's fault. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, we have the hat, and then of course this It's Not Jermaine's Fault, which the whole premise of the story is just about addressing anti-Black misandry and what it looks like, really starting all the way from K through 12 and how Black boys can navigate that in the school system. I did get commentary directly from Dr. Tiason Johnson, so he gave me some really good feedback. And so, yeah, if you haven't grabbed your copy, be sure to do so. And you can also grab your merch available on my store. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. This has been fun. This has been helpful. And we will talk later, guys. Okay, bye.